teeth and angrily responded, "Nothing, just saw some dirty thing." Wang Ziqin looked at Gu Chang'e and Yu Mingkong in surprise and said, "Isn't that Gu?" Ziqin, seeing Chang'e, secretly glanced at Chu Chu, thinking, "If there's nothing between these two, I'll eat poop." At this moment, the elder standing on the stage was announcing the time for the trial. In half a month, the true immortal Academy would hold the entrance trial, and based on the results, the elders would select their disciples. He hoped. Everyone was prepared. The cultivators below cheered excitedly, "Great, finally we can show our strength." Gu Chang'e smiled faintly and thought to himself, "The trial is in half a month. I'm curious what insights I'll gain by then." At the back, Xiang and Qin Huio stood together, both smiling. Chang'e continued to ponder, "Xiang Tianjun fits the identity of the chosen one. He has also interacted with me, so why hasn't the system task triggered? Could it be because there are too many chosen ones in the true immortal academy, and he's just one part of the task?" As the preaching ended, a group of students immediately poured out, discussing as they walked, "Finally, it's over. Are we going for a foot bath later?" Hearing this, the students responded, "Not going, I need to do my face. At this level, I have to look good." Suddenly, Gu Xianer saw Gu Chang'e and Yu Mingkong walking together, and her eyes widened in shock, her mouth forming an O shape. At the same time, Yu Mingkong also saw Gu Xianer and asked, "Isn't that Xianer?" Upon seeing Chang'e's figure, Xianer immediately covered her face with both hands, raised her butt, and ran away while chanting, "You can't see me, you can't see me." Yu Mingkong, watching Gu Xianer cover her face and run away in panic, was filled with confusion. She turned to Gu Chang'e and asked, "Why is she running? Did you bully her again?" Chang'e replied, "What are you saying? Impossible. She's the one bullying me, and now she's too shy to look at me." Gu Xianer ran so hurriedly while covering her face that she accidentally bumped into Xiang's firm chest. Xiang, seeing this, lightly laughed and said, "Xianer, what a coincidence, we meet again." Gu Xianer asked in confusion, "You are Xiang Tianjun?" Qin Huio, walking alongside Xiang, asked in confusion, "She is." Before the person beside him could finish, Xiang lightly interrupted and answered the question even before Huio asked. Gu Xianer stubbornly said, "What a coincidence. So many cultivators gathered here, listening to the elder preach, and yet I met Xiang Tianjun. Do you think I would say that?" Xiang calmly responded, "I indeed met Xianer by coincidence, just to greet her." "Is Xianer too nervous?" Xianer's expression changed, and she said seriously, "Move aside. Don't block my way, or I'll hit you." As soon as Xianer finished speaking, a hand suddenly rested on her shoulder. Gu Chang'e had appeared behind her at some point, slowly saying, "What's wrong, Xianer? Is someone bothering you? Is there another one?" As soon as he finished speaking, Gu Xianer blushed and immediately flew away, leaving them behind. "So annoying. Don't you have your own business? Stop bothering me." After Gu Xianer left, Gu Chang'e's face changed, and he stared at Xiang, saying, "Xiang Tianjun. I remember I previously said I didn't want anyone with impure intentions to get close to Xianer. Did you treat my words like the wind?" Xiang's expression slightly changed, and he responded, "Master Chang'e misunderstood. But I'll kindly remind you. When Xianer saw you earlier, she ran away. Too much possessiveness, anyone would be repelled." Gu Chang'e's expression darkened, his eyes filled with murderous intent, and he slowly said, "Are you teaching me how to do things? Pointing fingers at my family's affairs, what do you think you are?" Xiang, furious upon hearing this, raised his hand and pointed at Chang'e, saying, "Gu Chang'e, you." Qin Huai quickly intervened, standing aside and stopping Xiang, saying, "Ah Yang." He raised both hands and said, "Brother Gu, please forgive us, it was truly a misunderstanding. We were just passing by and had no ill intentions towards the girl earlier. Please rest assured." Xiang was struggling to suppress his anger at this point. Gu Changa's sharp gaze turned towards Qin Ya, asking, "Who are you?" Qin Ya, hearing this, pulled Xiang away and replied, "I am Qin Ya." Xiang, still filled with anger, turned and pointed behind him, saying, "Did you see that? This guy's personality is exactly like junior sister's." Gu Changa smiled slightly, his gaze deep, thinking to himself, "So it's you. System prompt, the son of fate returns from the flowing station, the eldest brother returns from the 9 heavens." The scene shifts to the heavenly palace, where a Taoist disciple anxiously said to his master, "Master, the eldest brother has been missing for so long, it's likely that things are dire. Please accept my condolences." The master remained calm and optimistic, still believing that his disciple was safe, responding, "Impossible, Ya's soul lamp has not gone out, how could things be dire?" Suddenly, a voice called out, "Father." The master immediately responded, "I will wait here until Ya returns." Duan Wan, in tears, choked out, "Eldest brother Ya, he." At that moment, one of the master's disciples pointed at the Taoist immortal and loudly said, "Master, we still have the Taoist immortal sister." The master, hearing this, looked at the Taoist immortal proudly and responded, "Taoist immortal has never disappointed me, and neither has Ya." The Taoist immortal stood at the eaves, deep in thought, waiting for something. Suddenly, the sky gradually turned purple, and within the purple smoke, countless fireballs began falling towards the master and the 2 disciples. Seeing this, they all exclaimed in unison, "What?" Amidst the falling fireballs, an immortal lord appeared, falling at an incredible speed. The 3 looked on, shocked, saying, "That is." As the 3 saw their immortal lord falling with the fireballs, their expressions gradually turned grim. Cold sweat appearing on their foreheads, and they exclaimed in horror, "The immortal butterfly blood, the heavenly palace is collapsing, the immortal lord has sacrificed himself. This world is finished." The scene shifted to Gu Changa, who silently thought to himself, "I see, I suddenly feel that these prompts, the words that surfaced in Gu Changa's memory are just fragments extracted from my deep memory. It seems this system is deeply connected to the Demon Lord." It turned out that the final boss of the Forbidden Era was the Demon Lord, the timeline collapsed, and the worlds dared not leave my name. Gu Changa showed a cold smile, with a faint purple chill gleaming in his eyes. In Gu Changa's memory, another phrase appeared, "The Ya Dao sect is destroyed, it's just the calamity of a fish in a pond, like crushing an ant." A sword shadow appeared, emitting a terrifying purple energy. Gu Changa laughed, saying, "It's time to return, I will return sooner or later." The scene shifted to the True Immortal Academy, where in a quiet room, a woman's voice suddenly spoke. Su Chinga was meditating nearby, while the woman excitedly said, "The one who inherited the demon technique has sneaked into the True Immortal Academy. This is a great opportunity for us, there are fat sheep waiting to be slaughtered everywhere, this place is indeed a paradise." The woman then lunged toward Su Chinga, saying, "As long as we're careful and don't get noticed by that grand elder, everything else will be handled by Yin Chan." Su Chinga calmly responded, "I understand." She said indifferently, "I'm just worried that one day I'll show a flaw in front of the young master, not sure how much longer I can hide it." The woman used her energy to create an illusion of the young master, showing a bloodthirsty expression, coldly saying, "Listen to me, swallow him." She immediately shoved the fake young master into her mouth and chewed fiercely, saying, "Why bother thinking? Just swallow him." Su Chinga, furious, waved her hand to scatter the illusion and shouted, "Shut up. You don't understand, I just hope that day comes later." The woman helplessly responded, "Humph, truly incurable." Gu Changa's expression became serious as he cupped his fists and respectfully said aloud, "Junior Gu Changa greets the elders of the academy." One of the elders spoke, "I didn't expect young Master Changa to visit so late, what brings you here?" Changa immediately answered, "The one who inherited the demon technique has infiltrated the True Immortal Academy, I can't just stand by and do nothing, I've come to ask the elders for any leads." One of the elders thought silently, "This guy is truly a troublemaker. The two elders beside him hesitated, saying, "This." Gu Changa saw the reactions of the elders and said, "It seems that the elders have no leads, but I have a method, though. It requires assistance." The elders responded, "Oh. The young Master Changa has a solution, please tell us more." One elder was surprised and thought, "What? He has a solution." Changa explained, "The reason why I say that a windy night is a night for murder is because the one who inherited the demonic art would never miss such a great opportunity. We just need to act separately, investigate each disciple's mountain gate, and eventually, someone will encounter him." After Changa finished speaking, the elders suddenly fell silent. At this moment, one elder spoke, Young Master Changa, have you considered how many disciples are in the academy? And, do you know how vast the academy is?" Gu Changa responded, "I know that there are already tens of thousands who have entered the academy. But I am not sure about the exact number. However, the academy is vast, comparable to an entire world." The elders asked, then, if young Master Changa knows that investigating each person will be time-consuming and labor-intensive, and it requires luck, what will happen if we don't encounter them tonight? Gu Changa calmly answered, "We will continue to investigate another day." Changa bowed to the elders and continued, "I know you elders are busy, and this method is like searching for a needle in a haystack. But considering that the one who inherited the demonic art is still at large, we cannot ignore this." Gu Changa confidently patted his chest and said, "Even if it's only me, I will spare no effort day and night to pull him out of the academy. It is the duty of every disciple of the academy." The elders, hearing this, all spoke up, "Good. Young Master Changa truly lives up to being a leading figure of the younger generation. This spirit of working tirelessly and sacrificing for the greater good makes my blood boil." As Elder Mo finished speaking, the other elders chimed in one after another, "Elder Mo, you." Elder Mo smiled slightly and said, "I wonder if I can accompany young Master Changa tonight." But in his heart, he secretly thought, I must not let him discover Ing Chang's identity. Changa understood Elder Mo's intention and burst out laughing. "What does Elder Mo mean by this? It would be a great honor to walk with a senior. On behalf of the disciples, I thank you, Elder Mo." But at this moment, Gu Changa thought to himself, the hook is set. As soon as he finished speaking, Gu Changa and Elder Mo headed toward the academy, chatting as they walked. Changa took the lead and said, "Elder Mo, I am truly grateful for your willingness to accompany me." Elder Mo replied, "Young Master Changa, there's no need to say so much, this is nothing." While they were talking, Gu Changa suddenly stopped and said with a determined gaze, "Elder Mo, I have another plan. The outer area of the academy is vast. We can split into two groups. If there are no abnormalities in each area, we can regroup at the next location. What do you think, Elder Mo?" Elder Mo thought to himself, is this a plan? Does Gu Changa's brain have a problem? Elder Mo began to be dismissive, loudly saying, "This plan is excellent." But in his heart, he thought, I'll play along, as long as I can keep you away from where Ing Chang is. Gu Changa pointed to one side and loudly said, "Then I will go this way." Elder Mo replied, "All right, be careful, my young friend." Seeing his plan progressing smoothly, Changa flashed a sly smile and thought to himself, "Elder Mo, I have a big gift waiting for you on your side. I wonder if it will meet your expectations." The scene switched to the academy, where Su Chinga appeared in front of a room. At the same time, a voice from inside asked, "Who?" Chinga pretended to cough a few times and said, "Senior brother, it's me. Has Chinyu gone to sleep? May I come in for a while?" The senior brother responded, "Chinyu, it's so late." While speaking, he secretly thought to himself and revealed a smug smile, "The one coming is quite a little temptress." The senior brother then approached and opened the door, muttering, "I'm coming. I'm coming." However, as he opened the door, he was stunned and surprised to find that the person outside was not his familiar Chinyu, but Su Chinga. Seeing that it was not Chinyu, his face instantly darkened, his brows furrowed, and he asked in shock, "Ah. You are not Chinyu. Who are you?" No one answered his question, and the door was immediately slammed shut. A terrified scream came from inside. "You. What do you want to do?" A powerful aura emanated from the room, and a piercing scream rang out. After sending the lecherous man on his way, the woman beside Su Chinga walked toward the senior brother's corpse. Laughing excitedly, "I didn't expect this guy to look unimpressive, but his flavor isn't bad." Just as the woman enjoyed the man's scent, Su Chinga's face changed drastically, and she exclaimed, "An elder is coming." Then Chinga pulled the woman and ran away, but the woman looked back reluctantly at the food and said unhappily, "What a buzzkill, I haven't finished yet." At this moment, Elder Mo descended from the sky, enveloped in a blue light. Su Chinga, seeing this, was horrified. And said, "It's over. My identity is exposed." The person beside her also spoke, "Damn. It's a supreme elder." Elder Mo said with uncertainty, What is going on? How is there another person who inherited the demonic art?" He thought to himself, "No, this woman's methods are real demonic arts, could Ing Chang be a fake?" Su Chinga was immediately afraid and said, "What should we do now?" The girl behind her responded, "We'll fight it out." Then, Elder Mo grabbed Chinga's wrist and pulled her toward a certain direction, saying, "Don't make a sound, follow me." At this moment, Gu Gu suddenly appeared and said, "Elder Mo, I have finished inspecting the area I'm responsible for, and I came here specifically to meet up with you." Elder Mo thought to himself, "Damn, how did this kid finish so quickly?" Gu Changa said in surprise, "Chinga, what are you doing here?" Chinga saw Changa and immediately became flustered. "This is it, the most complicated situation has occurred." At this moment, Gu Changa's expression suddenly changed and he said, "Wait, that's, a disciple has been attacked by the heir of the magic cultivation." Elder Mo turned around to look at the room behind him and thought anxiously, "Damn it, does this mean I have to kill Gu Changa to silence him?" Changa asked in confusion, "What exactly is going on?" Chinga stammered, "Young master, I. Elder Mo coldly said to Su Chinga, "Don't talk nonsense, otherwise I can't protect you. It seems like he knows you, what is your relationship with him?" Gu Changa said, "Elder Mo, do you think she is the heir of the magic cultivation?" "She is my maid. I, Gu Changa, swear by my Tao heart, she is definitely not the heir of the magic cultivation." Elder Mo frowned in thought, "I see." Su Chinga's expression darkened, and she whispered, "Young master, I'm sorry, but actually, I'm." Elder Mo turned to Changa and asked, "Young master Changa, I have one more question for you." "What does this mean?" Elder Mo continued, "I just fought with the heir of the magic cultivation, and it just so happens this young lady passed by here. So I wanted to ensure her safety and take her away. Do you think I am committing an act of harming the loyal?" Elder Mo's words left Su Chinga completely confused. Gu Changa's face grew cold, and he directly said, "Oh, didn't you make a mistake and treat Chinga as the heir of the magic cultivation?" As soon as he finished speaking, Elder Mo became enraged, unleashing a powerful blue force and shouted, "Nonsense! Do you take me for a fool? Watch your attitude toward your elders." Gu Changa, seeing this, shouted in anger, "This concerns my Chinga, even if it's Elder Mo, I can't hold back." With that, he released a golden beam of light towards Elder Mo, and both of them unleashed their energy, facing each other with no room to back down. Su Chinga, seeing this, had tears welling in her eyes and softly called out, "Young master." The girl beside her, however, expressionless, said, "So eager to be moved. A person like him wouldn't do anything without a gain, he might be acting." System prompt, Su Chinga's favorability toward the heir of the magic cultivation increased. Elder Mo spoke, "Young friend Changa, don't you know that in each generation, there has only been one heir to the magic cultivation? Everyone knows it is Prince Yingxiang of Tianhuang." Gu Changa, upon hearing this, fell into deep thought. "I actually forgot about that." Elder Mo said, "Forget it, since this young lady belongs to Gu Changa, then there must be no problem. She must have come out to search for you after not seeing you tonight." She didn't expect to encounter such a thing. Gu Chang'e immediately bowed and said, I see. I was rash, please forgive me, Elder Mo. Then, Elder Mo turned and said, if there's nothing else, you two should leave first. I need to carefully investigate this place to avoid missing any clues. Su Qingge walked to Gu Chang'e's side and hesitantly called, young master, while Elder Mo thought to himself, no wonder I couldn't detect the magic cultivation aura on that kidding Xiang, it's all fake. Meanwhile, Gu Chang'e thought to himself, then it's up to Elder Mo to clean up after this. Then, Gu Chang'e and Su Qingge walked side by side. Su Qingge reached out to pull at the corner of Gu Chang'e's clothes and softly said, young master. But Gu Chang'e shook off the corner of his clothes, frowned, and showed a trace of impatience, making Su Qingge immediately feel hurt. She hesitated and said, I'm sorry, young master, I shouldn't have. Gu Chang'e crossed his arms and asked, now you want to explain. Su Qingge, I trusted you. How many things have you hidden from me? Qingge lowered her head and hesitated before replying, sorry, young master, actually, the reason I'm here tonight is because, Gu Chang'e glared at her angrily. Su Qingge still hesitated and said, it's because. In the next second, Su Qingge took out a box, her face filled with anxiety, and shouted, I obtained a mysterious box at the auction, and this box is actually related to the 7 Qi mastery of heaven from the upper realm. But I didn't tell you, young master. I shouldn't have hidden this from you. Gu Chang'e, after hearing this, asked in confusion, 7 Qi mastery of heaven? Then, he suddenly sneered and said, oh. Su Qingge, you never mentioned this before. These words made Su Qingge panic even more, stuttering, young master. Gu Chang'e turned and walked away, saying, forget it, you handle it yourself. This has happened once and again. I don't know how much longer I can tolerate this. If you cause trouble again, don't blame me for throwing you back to the lower realm. Su Qingge's tears slid down her cheeks. Hearing these words, she could only respond sadly, yes. Gu Chang'e fell into deep thought. Next, Elder Mo will definitely secretly contact Su Qingge. As long as I keep an eye on her movements, I can control the situation in the Demon Workers organization. Chang, this time no one will protect you. I want to see what value you can create before you die. A voice sounded, this heir of the Demon Workers is too arrogant, killing 2 geniuses repeatedly. Someone echoed. And this is at the True Immortal Academy, where many people have gathered. Another person said, I didn't expect that Chang and the Demon Workers organization are not only vicious, but also incredibly bold. After hearing this, Chang's eyes welled up with tears, and he tightly pressed his lips together. Then, someone walked up to Chang and shouted loudly, brothers, don't be afraid. These guys dared to enter the True Immortal Academy and commit murder. They won't be able to escape. When the time comes, won't we just skin them alive? They should be the ones crying. Upon hearing this, Chang couldn't hold back any longer, tears pouring down like rain. He furrowed his brow and murmured to himself, who says it isn't true? Wang Ziqin stood beside Jiang Chuchu and said, Chuchu, this is your best chance to catch him. I remember your talent. Can rewind time, right? If you can find a clue, maybe you can uncover the hidden identity of the heir of the demon art. Jiang Chuchu lowered her head and carefully examined the token. Seeing this, Wang Ziqin asked, I'm talking to you. Did you hear me? Why are you staring at this broken token so much? Does it smell like Gu Chang'e? Jiang Chuchu furrowed her brow and angrily responded, are you too idle? Why are you suddenly concerned about the heir of the demon art? You didn't care about this before, did you? Wang Ziqin immediately stood up, spread his arms, and shouted, what? You dare say I'm idle? As the heir of the human ancestor hall, I hope to bring peace to the world. What's wrong with that? Jiang Chuchu continued cultivating and casually responded, then go find it yourself, don't disturb my cultivation. Even the elders of the academy can't do anything, what can I do? The next second, Wang Ziqin leaned close to Jiang Chuchu's ear and whispered, "You've changed. You're no longer the Chuchu I knew. Now. You neither seek the reincarnated human being nor care about the coming disaster, even the air of the demon art doesn't move you." Wang Ziqin covered his mouth with his hand, eyes wide open, and said, "No way. You're not falling for Gu Chang'e, are you? Have you and he, already?" Jiang Chuchu shot him a glare and asked suspiciously, "Falling for him? What do you mean by that?" Wang Ziqin clapped his hands repeatedly and stammered, "It's just." Meanwhile, Jiang Chuchu still had a puzzled expression. Upon seeing Wang Ziqin's next actions, Jiang Chuchu suddenly realized, her anger flaring up, her eyes bloodshot, and she glared at Wang Ziqin with a terrifying expression. Then, Jiang Chuchu shouted, "Wang Ziqin, stop right there." As soon as the words were out, she waved her palm and shot out a fierce blue light. Wang Ziqin quickly ran forward, looking back and shouting, "Why are you turning on me so quickly? It's you who didn't want to understand." Jiang Chuchu chased after him while using her techniques, angrily shouting, "Didn't want to understand? You actually use this excuse to avoid responsibility? Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson for the human ancestor hall." Suddenly, a voice came from the sky, "Where is the holy maiden Ziqin?" Wang Ziqin and Jiang Chuchu immediately stopped, and Wang Ziqin asked in confusion, "Gu Chang'e? How does he know I'm here?" Jiang Chuchu calmly replied, "My cave abode is nearby, what's so strange about that?" She closed her eyes and continued, "He wants to find you, so let's go see what's going on." Wang Ziqin then asked, "Aren't you coming with me?" Jiang Chuchu coldly answered, "No interest." Gu Chang'e happily said, "Holy maiden Ziqin, long time no see. You look even more energetic now." Wang Ziqin flew forward and asked, "Enough, brother Gu, what brings you here today?" Gu Chang'e replied, "Recently, the heir of the demon art has been very arrogant in the academy. I recall. The holy maiden was also attacked before, and I have some suspicions, so I came to inform you." Wang Ziqin asked in surprise, "Oh. Do you have any leads on the heir of the demon art?" Gu Chang'e answered, "Just a guess. There's no evidence, but upon further thought, we still need to be cautious." Prince Qin then asked, "Brother Gu, would you like to come inside for a while? Chu Chu is here too." Gu Chang'e bowed and replied, "No, my mother still has matters to attend to. I must take my leave." Meanwhile, Jiang Chuchu was standing alone on a branch. She clenched her fists and thought, "Does he not want to come in after hearing I am here?" On the other side, Qin Wuye continued to read with great immersion. The realms collapse, the ages collapse. The great way cracks, and ultimate destruction follows. In the next moment, Qin Wuye furrowed his brows and said, "Does no one know what happened? There isn't even any record in the books. Even in reincarnation, memories are obstructed. This was the era I once lived in, called the Forbidden Era." He closed his eyes and continued, "Now, Xiang has reincarnated, and little junior sister has reincarnated as well. The master and she must have also reincarnated. I will find everyone." However, Qin Wuye suddenly sensed something was wrong. He immediately turned around and hesitantly said, "That is." He looked out the window and exclaimed, "Yang's mansion." The protective shield had shattered, releasing a cloud of white smoke. Someone shouted loudly, "The one named Xiang Tianjun, come out here." Everyone was repelled and scattered in all directions. Someone exclaimed, "It's Gu Chang'e. This guy is too domineering. Don't forget, Tianjun is one of the top 10 strongest." But Gu Chang'e remained steady in the air, his whole body enveloped in golden light. He said indifferently, "The 10th place. If I'm not satisfied, the true immortal academy might only have the top 9. Have him come out, or I'll make you my target." Xiang stepped out from the mansion and shouted angrily, "Gu Chang'e, what do you want?" The surrounding crowd cheered, "Xiang Tianjun. He immediately gave the order, retreat. Xiang frowned and angrily questioned, Gu Chang'e, we have no grudges, why did you kill my servant? Gu Chang'e coldly looked down at Xiang and responded, no grudges. It seems you don't remember anything. You dared to ignore my warning, do you think I would let you off easily? In the next moment, everyone rushed toward Xiang's mansion, excitedly shouting, look! Young Master Chang'e is fighting with Xiang Tianjun. This is a show we can't miss. The Divine Prince and the Immortal Princess are here too. Meanwhile, on a cliff, why is Gu Chang'e bullying people again? Then, the Qin flew to Gu Xianer's side and whispered something. She was still slurping noodles casually and said, It's fine if he bullies Xiang Tianjun. Gu Xianer continued to eat calmly and said casually, Gu Chang'e also said, it's none of my business. Whether it's a man or woman. She thought to herself whether she should go and join the excitement. Outside Xiang's mansion, the crowd gathered. A voice echoed, oh. I didn't expect the Immortal Princess likes to watch the excitement. 2. Doesn't the Divine Prince as well? Being one of the top 10 strongest, don't you want to see how deep Gu Chang'e really is? Xiang, draped in purple light, ascended into the air and sneered, what? Gu Chang'e, from your words. It seems you want to dominate the academy. A graceful woman is a good match for a gentleman. Junior sister. The immortal, is gentle and graceful, what's wrong with me pursuing her? Should you interfere? Gu Chang'e responded indifferently, a gentleman's match is correct, but, what kind of dog are you, to deserve her? Upon hearing this, Xiang gritted his teeth, frowning and angrily shouting, you, show some respect, don't be so clueless. Someone suddenly realized, so that's it. I heard last time, Xiang Tianjun offended Gu Xianer, and young Master Chang'e said nothing. No. Wonder his attitude is so strong today. A disciple marveled, I didn't expect young Master Chang'e cares so much for his little sister. However, the Divine Prince spoke up, that's not right. If Gu Chang'e really loved his sister, how could he have taken her Dao bone when she was young and cast her out of the family? The so-called return of the Dao bone was probably a reluctant move. The Immortal Princess sneered and said, are you implying he used this to serve his own agenda? The so-called justice for his sister is just a facade, in fact, he wants to suppress Xiang Tianjun. The Divine Prince frowned and said, who knows? Anyway, this guy isn't a good one. Meanwhile, Gu Chang'e stepped forward, with red light surging around him, and said in a deep voice, I told you long ago, face is not something others can give. He swept past Xiang and coldly asked, why? Can't you understand? At this moment, the surrounding space was enveloped by the dazzling red light. The next moment, Gu Chang'e kicked Xiang several meters away. Xiang frowned and roared, Gu Chang'e, do you really think? He suddenly waved his hand, releasing several blue flames and roared, am I afraid of you? However, Gu Chang'e's figure flashed and easily dodged the blue flames, charging straight at Xiang. With a loud explosion, a violent blast swept in all directions. Seeing this, the crowd began to discuss, all these are top 10 level giants, this battle might last a long time, but maybe not, last time, Jin Chanzi was. The intense battle between Xiang and Gu Chang'e is ongoing and extremely exciting. Gu Chang'e swings a series of swords. Surrounded by golden light and someone immediately shouts, look, those are the swords that break the Chanzi law. The moment Gu Chang'e extends his hand, the swords rush directly toward Xiang. At this moment, Xiang is surrounded by purple light, looking extremely terrifying. He fiercely casts his move, Hongmen Purple Chi. Xiang's eyes suddenly shine, and he grins maliciously, saying, the last time I used this move was when I fought Sixguan King. The Fairy Emperor's daughter suddenly realizes, that is Hongmen Dao Bone. The Divine Emperor's son responds, Xiang's trump card. The surrounding space is instantly enveloped by dazzling golden light. Xiang easily avoids the sword swung by Gu Chang'e and reminds him, I forgot to tell you, I'm much stronger than Jin Chan. Your divine sword is powerful, but it can't harm me. The sky suddenly darkens, and someone shouts, quick, stop him. A disciple exclaims, no. Look, up there. A blazing golden light appears in the sky, and someone shouts loudly, it's a phenomenon. A beautiful glow suddenly emerges from beneath the thick clouds, and everyone exclaims, we didn't expect it to be a phenomenon, quickly retreat to a safe distance. Everyone quickly flies away. The Divine Emperor's son is still in shock, unable to stop himself from asking, what realm is Gu Chang'e in? The Fairy Emperor's daughter looks up at the sky, silent. Xiang also starts sweating, his eyes wide in shock, hesitating as he says, this, you can't just be at the Saint Realm. Gu Chang'e extends his hand, his face looking extremely terrifying as he says, I forgot to tell you. Jin Chanzi is no different from you. His eyes suddenly shine brightly as he softly says, down you go. In the next instant, a golden dragon appears, ready to attack Xiang. Seeing this, he immediately shields himself with both hands and starts shouting anxiously, damn it. Hongmen Purple Chi, full body protection. Immediately, the golden dragon breathes out a red light, piercing through Xiang's shield and heading straight for the mansion, turning everything into powder. The system prompt sounds, Dao fruit of introduction reduced by 1. Xiang collapses onto the shattered ground, and everything around him is destroyed, leaving only a white mist swirling. Xiang coughs continuously, his body covered in wounds, his mouth stained with blood. He struggles to stand up and says, if my immortal Dao Heavenly I hadn't been in backlash, I wouldn't have ended up like this. Gu Chang'e sneers and responds, weaklings love to make excuses. He then slowly steps forward and says, your physique isn't bad, but unfortunately, you were born at the wrong time. Just as his words fall, suddenly, Qin Wui lands heavily, shouting harshly, stop. Qin Wui stands up, sternly saying, Gu Chang'e. Xiang has already paid the price. Do you still want to burn him to death? Xiang hesitates and says, Senior brother. Qin Wui continues, moreover, we meant no disrespect to your younger sister. Why not stop here? Gu Chang'e looks sharply ahead, pauses, and says, you. Then, he steps in front of Qin Wui, asking, what? Do you want to lie down too? Hearing this, Qin Wui frowns and says in a deep voice, you. The Divine Emperor's son observes and wonders, strange, how does Xiang know that ancient person who awoke from the strange stone? It seems their relationship is quite deep. The Fairy Emperor's daughter replies, in any case, their grudge with Gu Chang'e has already ended. In an instant, Gu Chang'e turns around and leaves, coldly saying, fine, I'll give you a lesson today. If there's a next time, I'll completely cripple both of you. Qin Wui watches him leave, clenching his fist, while Xiang kneels on the ground, silent. The system prompt sounds, Qin Wui, the son of fortune, protects his junior from humiliation, causing fortune loss. The same sect was attacked, and Qin Wui failed to rescue in time, causing fortune loss. Afterward, Gu Chang'e stands before everyone, slightly bows, and says loudly, today's events must have amused everyone. The Divine Emperor's son responds, Brother Gu, it's understandable that you helped your younger sister. I was just passing by and suddenly remembered some unfinished business. Farewell. The Fairy Emperor's daughter also speaks, farewell. Thus, the Divine Emperor's son and the Fairy Emperor's daughter leave together. The Divine Emperor's son says, Gu Chang'e is too powerful. We need to redefine his strength. The Fairy Emperor's daughter replies, maybe he's hiding even more strength. Everyone leaves one by one, and Gu Chang'e just smiles faintly. Meanwhile, Qin Wui helps Xiang up and asks with concern, Ah Yang, how are you? Xiang weakly replies, Senior brother, Gu Chang'e has malicious intentions. Junior sister's memory hasn't recovered, she's innocent. I used my immortal Dao Heavenly Eye to check, and junior sister will definitely fall into his poisonous hands. Qin Wei frowns and quietly says, I know you're thinking of junior sister, but you were too impulsive this time. In my opinion, someone like Gu Chang'e is more terrifying than any magic heir. Ziyang answers, senior brother, I know he's not simple, but... Before he finished speaking, Qin Wei interrupted him, saying, the inheritors of demonic arts at least won't be like him, waving a flag of justice while swinging a blade everywhere, finding excuses to oppress the weak. His evil is hidden beneath his hypocritical mask. After hearing this, Ziyang coughed and rapidly asked, so what should we do? We can't just watch our junior sister jump into the fire, right? With your strength, senior brother, you can't defeat him. Qin Wei stretched out his hand and replied, defeating him might not be easy, but don't rush. He continued, I've heard there's a reincarnation lake in immortal heaven, which can make one recall past lives. If we can help junior sister regain her memories, things will be much easier. Then, Qin Wei patted Ziyang on the shoulder and said firmly, I'll leave for immortal heaven immediately. I'll be back in a month at most. You take care and avoid further conflict with him. Ziyang immediately replied, all right, I'll listen to senior brother. After that, Qin Wei turned into a streak of blue light and flew away, while Ziyang sat on a large stone, bruised all over. He supported his head with his hand and muttered softly, Gu Chang'e, once my celestial eye recovers, with senior brother's help, will definitely erase today's shame. Meanwhile, Gu Xian'er was gazing up at the bright blue sky when suddenly a purple light flashed by. She smiled with satisfaction. And thought, I didn't expect a greedy person like him to eventually step forward for me. He really has changed. Gu Chang'e was still flying in the sky, surrounded by streaks of purple light. His eyes glowed fiercely as he gazed at the palm of his hand wrapped in purple light, and said with satisfaction, using the reincarnation Dao fruit to replicate the primordial purple energy, though rushed, it's enough to pass for real. Ziyang, I've prepared your script. A streak of blue light flashed, and many people were walking forward. The crowd around them murmured, the trial has begun. So many people, I wonder what's in store for us. That's a teleportation array, leading to the trial grounds. This is exciting. Meanwhile, Gu Chang'e and Su Qinglan were also walking forward when a voice rang out, according to the rules from previous years, I wonder which young hero will lead the team this time. Qing Feng and Qing Xiaoyi saw Gu Chang'e and immediately lowered their heads in respect, saying, greetings, young Master Chang'e. Gu Chang'e responded, long time no see, how are you? Are you getting used to things here? Qing Xiaoyi's cheeks reddened as she hesitantly replied, Res. Respected young Master Chang'e, I'm already quite used to it. Gu Chang'e nodded slightly and said, it seems you two siblings have gained something during this time. Even your cultivation has improved quite a bit. Qing Feng replied, that's all thanks to my sister. Without her, with my talent, I wouldn't have the fortune to cultivate this far. Then, Gu Chang'e turned to leave, saying, it's not like that. Everyone has their own opportunities, this is your karmic connection. Qing Feng lowered his head and said, yes. While Qing Xiaoyi happily said, young Master Chang'e, take care. Su Qinglan glanced at Qing Feng and Qing Xiaoyi, thinking to herself, that delicate figure. She looked up excitedly and said, brother, look. Young Master Chang'e still remembers me. Qing Feng helplessly said, all right, I know. Keep your voice down. You're now a disciple highly valued by the elders, your future is limitless, so mind your image. Suddenly, a voice rang out, make way, Lord. Lord Gua is here. The crowd around them immediately began discussing, look. Lord Gua, that monster, has arrived. He must be the strongest among the top 10, right? In the Talent Academy, he's a 6-time internal competition champion. I heard Lord Ziyang was once the top in the upper realms, but even he couldn't beat him. Lord Guo walked slowly, fists clenched and an imposing aura around him. Someone muttered to themselves, I really want to know who is stronger, him or young Master Chang'e. In the next moment, Lord Guo looked at Gu Chang'e, thinking to himself, Changxing Gu family, Gu Chang'e. As if sensing someone was watching him, Gu Chang'e slightly turned his head, looking behind him and thinking, interesting, this is the first time I've been scrutinized like this, as if I'm prey. Lord Guo walked up to Gu Chang'e, his heart filled with joy, thinking, that's right, you're worthy of being my only opponent. Gu Chang'e, however, showed a sinister smile, thinking to himself, where did this bumpkin come from? Suddenly, 3 elders flew in, shouting, silence. One elder held a small box and announced, this trial involves the Silent Heaven. Traces of the Silent Kingdom have been found in the Silent Heaven region. It seems the Silent Emperor is about to be born. Many ancient kingdoms and powers have been attacked, even the creatures protected by the Academy haven't been spared. Many kingdoms have already been conquered. Therefore, according to the rankings, each disciple will lead teams to various ancient kingdoms to quell the conflicts. The remaining positions will be filled by disciples ranked lower, and others can freely choose to join an approved team. After speaking, the elder raised the box in his hand and continued, now, let's begin the draw. The elder shouted again, then, starting with Gu Chang'e, you go first. Upon hearing this, Gu Chang'e pointed to himself. Then, Gu Chang'e took a token, slowly unfolded it, and found that it said, first. At the same time, Jiang Chuchu pulled out her sign and angrily said, damn. Gu Chang'e saw this scene. From a distance, walked up to Jiang Chuchu, and said with a smile, long time no see, Saintess Chuchu. Yu Mingkong, on the other side, also saw the two of them standing together. Prince Qin walked up to Yu Mingkong happily and said, oh. Princess Mingkong, what a coincidence, we are in the same group. She then asked, the Saintess of the Human Ancestor Hall, Prince Qin. The next moment, Prince Qin linked his arm with Yu Mingkong's and patted her shoulder, responding, that's right, it doesn't matter if I'm not in the same group as Brother Gu, I will take care of you for him. Were you worried that Brother Gu would be taken away by my friend? Hearing this, Yu Mingkong immediately shook off Prince Qin's hand and replied, you think too much. She then turned and walked away, continuing, I was just worried about Saintess Chuchu's safety, after all, my husband will definitely not be at a disadvantage. Prince Qin hesitated and said, huh. You also know that Brother Gu isn't a good person, and you're still so kind. Meanwhile, Lu Guanwangshan thought, it's a pity, I'm in the same group as a former subordinate I defeated. Meanwhile, standing behind him, Jian Chang was calculating in his mind, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Looks like I'll have to cross paths with Zhang Tianjun this time, no matter what, he's one of the few people not afraid of Gu Chang'e. Zhang covered his nose and thought, luckily, I didn't get assigned to the same group as Gu Chang'e. Then, an elder raised his hand and loudly shouted, all right, since there are not enough disciples in the rankings, the Academy has decided to promote one of the most capable disciples as the captain. He continued, Tian'er, you must perform well. Gu Tian'er was surprised when she heard this, pointing at herself and saying, ah. Me. Everyone looked at Gu Tian'er and murmured, what? This girl looks so ordinary, why should she be the captain? She's from the Gu family, the younger sister of Gu Chang'e, and seems to be the disciple of the Grand Elder. Oh. So she's well connected, definitely. Avoid her, I have a feeling we're in trouble. She thought to herself, it's not that exaggerated, right? I'm not weak either. An elder reminded, all right, quiet down, other disciples, hurry up and form your teams, prepare to depart. A large gate appeared with a beam of blue light. Last time, when they attacked the Zhuke ancient kingdom, they relied on Prince Qin to find the origin of the absolute sound. This time, they depend on this woman again. Gu Chang'e glanced at Jiang Chuchu, who was standing with her arms crossed, and the people behind them thought to themselves, to follow young Master Chang'e's actions, we must find a way to approach him. A certain woman inwardly cursed, this jerk has no sense of responsibility. Everyone in the Xuanwu ancient kingdom expedition team had different thoughts in their hearts. Someone cursed, a bunch of useless people. Another person wondered, strange, why hasn't old Mo looked for me recently? At my peak, I wasn't even a match for Lu Guanwang. I wonder if he has already subdued Gu Chang'e. The members of the Baihu Ancient Kingdom expedition team lined up. Prince Qin thought, so tired, someone really is fortunate. People around them commented, they just arrived today, and Princess Mingkong is also in the top 10. Yeah, Princess Mingkong is really humble. Yu Mingkong frowned as someone bumped into her. She immediately spoke up, Saintess, please be more respectful. The woman who bumped into her laughed and said, sorry, Saintess Chu Chu, I'm just used to it. Yu Mingkong thought to herself. She's clearly a woman, why is she so reckless? So impolite, is this the education from the human ancestor hall? In the Red Wolf Ancient Kingdom expedition team, the captain thought, did that trash Jian Chang sneak in? Jian Yu glanced at him and thought, no matter where Gu Chang'e goes, he shines so brightly. If only my brother could be half as excellent. In the Qinglong Ancient Kingdom expedition team, Gu Tian'er was looking around for something. She asked, what's going on? Only 2 people. Am I really that unreliable? A nearby young girl murmured to herself, if it weren't for Elder Lei wanting us to maximize our training effectiveness, I'd also want to join Gu Chang'e's team. Gu Tian'er crossed her arms and sighed, then comforted herself, forget it, think of it from another angle, at least there are still 2 people. A woman came over to Gu Tian'er and said, let's team up. She asked, are you the immortal empress among the top 10? The other nodded in confirmation. Gu Chang'e stood respectfully in front of Elder Lei. Elder Lei spoke, young friend Chang'e, I have something I would like your help with. Qing Xiaoyi is a disciple we've been focusing on cultivating, and since you are so close with her, so. He immediately replied. Rest assured, Elder, Qing Xiaoyi and I are fated, and if there's an opportunity, I will definitely take good care of her. Qing Xiaoyi saw this scene and said, brother, look, young Master Chang'e is so good, he's willing to care for others. Qing Feng replied, don't think too much, young Master Chang'e is doing this because of Miss Tian'er. Upon hearing this, Gu Tian'er immediately said, I don't need him to meddle in my affairs. In the martial arts field, there was much discussion. The team from the True Immortal Academy's expedition said, look over there, are we almost at those ancient kingdoms? No wonder it's the True Immortal Academy. The sails on the giant ship were hoisted high. Set sail. The giant ship sped through the silent night sky. In a room, Gu Chang'e stood with his back to Qingxia, listening to her say, young master, our goal is the Zhuke Ancient Kingdom. Currently, many areas in the eastern part of the Zhuke Ancient Kingdom have been occupied, and there have been heavy casualties among the cultivators. Qingxia took a step closer to him. He said, Qingxia, your cultivation has improved rapidly recently. She replied. The True Immortal Academy is indeed a great place for cultivation, and thanks to the elder's guidance. Chang'e placed his hand on Qing'e's cheek and said, you've grown so much since we first met. Above her head, a flower icon in the number 7200 appeared. He continued, I'm sure your father, far away in the lower realms Taishan Holy Land, would be pleased to know this. She replied, thanks to you, my lord, bringing me to the upper realm. Qing'e has had the chance to broaden her horizons and grow to where she is today. Without you, I would still be a frog at the bottom of a well, with no hope of joining the True Immortal Academy. Chang'e turned and laughed, saying, by the way, how's your investigation into the 7 heavenly artifacts going? Qing'e began reporting, I've found some clues. If I'm not mistaken, the siblings Qin Feng and Qin Xiaoyi are probably the ones holding the heavenly artifacts. Chang'e placed his hand on the windowsill and replied, oh. Then it must be in that young man Qingfeng's hands. After all, the immortal demon body doesn't require external assistance. He suddenly pushed open the window. Qing'e asked, that's possible, because the older brother Qing Xiaoyi isn't simple. Do you need me to? Before she could finish, Chang'e interrupted, no need. His gaze shifted far off, and he calmly said, I will make him hand it over voluntarily. In a room, a hand bound in shackles tightly grasped an iron chain, the hand covered in purple and blue bruises. Next, it was a scene of Chang'e gently lifting Princess Minkong's hair. She suddenly spat out blood, her entire body collapsing backward, nearly fainting, as the surrounding energy from her cultivation still enveloped her. She cursed, damn it. Chang'e, damn it. A hand reached out to steady her waist. Chang'e appeared, holding her in his arms and scolding, you've gone astray in your cultivation. Why curse me? Hearing this, she widened her eyes in shock and couldn't speak. After regaining herself, Susu blushed and shouted angrily, you, what are you doing? Chang'e glanced at her and replied, I'm here to tell you, when we reach the Zhuge ancient kingdom, help me find the location where the absolute disaster erupted. Susu lay in Chang'e's arms, her face still flushed. She said, why should I help you? I will never aid in evil deeds, stop dreaming. He replied, from the day you didn't dare reveal my identity, you've already been helping me do bad things. And don't forget, human ancestor has already passed. Now, only I can completely resolve the absolute disaster. If you don't cooperate, think about how that disaster will spread. As the heir of the human ancestor temple, won't you feel guilty? Susu slightly turned her head in thought, inwardly cursing, this despicable person. What methods did he use? But since he wants to stop the absolute calamity, he should still have some good intentions. Chang'e continued holding her and asked, well, have you thought it through? Susu pushed against his chest with her hand and replied, I understand. But I have one condition. He looked at her gently and softly said, oh. Susu seemed to avoid Chang'e's gaze and said, Chang'e, can you treat me better in the future? Chang'e immediately tossed her to the ground, not showing the slightest compassion, and said, impossible. Susu's eyes reddened, and she angrily cursed, Chang'e, why are you so heartless? He didn't let her continue and immediately bent down to kiss her soft lips, still stained with blood. In the royal palace of the Zhuge ancient kingdom, thick black smoke filled the surroundings. Inside the palace, the person seated on the throne sighed. The ministers in 2 rows stood respectfully. One official reported respectfully, Your Majesty, the geniuses from the True Immortal Academy are about to arrive. There's no need to worry too much, we are saved. Si Wujie said, that's just a trial from the True Immortal Academy. Their purpose is merely to train disciples, and our lives and deaths don't matter. He placed a hand on his forehead and continued, the Zhuge ancient kingdom has been passed down for millions of years. But it will eventually be destroyed by my hands. The ministers quickly warned, Your Majesty, please be cautious with your words. Wujie continued, fortunately, Howard isn't here. He doesn't have to be buried with this old man. A man rushed into the palace and loudly reported, Your Majesty, the 3rd prince has returned. He asked in shock, what? How is back? The 3 of them had just returned to the palace and were walking toward the main hall. Wang Zhao looked around and said, Senior brother, is this your hometown? It's so weak, there's not even a supreme being here. See how responded. A son doesn't despise his mother's poverty, a dog doesn't despise its home's poverty, and a gentleman doesn't forget his roots. Now that the Zhuge ancient kingdom is facing a great calamity, it's time for my abilities to be of use. He smiled, yes, senior brother is right. I just didn't expect that in this remote place, where fortune is continuously declining, someone like senior brother could still be nurtured. Si Hao looked into the distance and said, before coming, I already told you not to be too surprised. After all, my family background isn't prominent. When the Zhuge ancient kingdom was in dire straits, my father could still provide me with abundant cultivation resources. Because of this, I decided to travel around the world. Si Hao recalled the past as Wu Jie stretched his arms toward him. Wang Zhao laughed loudly, oh. I've never heard you mention your father, senior brother. Then he said, your father must not be an ordinary person. See how reminded, so, when we see my father later, don't try to show off. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw Suo Wuji and the officials walking out. He loudly shouted, Howard, it's really you, Howard. Suo Hao knelt at his feet and said, Father Emperor, Howard has returned. He helped him up and said, quick, get up. Howard does not need to kneel. Wang Zhao sneered and said, just a mere emperor from the lower realm. Qing Xian reminded, do you think the senior brother can't hear? Wang Zhao glanced at her and continued, foolish. So what if he hears? Senior brother doesn't care. The Supreme Cave Heaven cannot leave the Wang family to support me. How powerful can senior brother be? Wang Zhao angrily said, you, then muttered, this person's character and cultivation cannot compare to senior brother. Under the sunset, a flying boat slowly descended from the sky. Suo Hao asked, Father Emperor, is that the ancient Zhuge kingdom? I thought it would be related to the Zhuge clan. I didn't expect it to be just a ruined small kingdom, wasting my time. I had hoped the strongest person in the Zhuge kingdom would be in the great sage realm. No wonder most of the country has already collapsed. Suo Wuji looked up at the sky and said, it should be the genius from the True Immortal Academy. The Academy promised to help us solve this disaster. Suo Hao asked, they only sent young geniuses. Wuji sighed helplessly. Wang Zhao revealed his knowledge and said, I've heard this generation of Academy talents is outstanding, with geniuses emerging. One after another, a golden age. I wonder, compared to our Supreme Cave Heaven disciples, who is stronger? Qing Xian responded. I've heard every Academy disciple is not weak, especially those in the top 10 list, they are extremely powerful. Suo Hao angrily said, the True Immortal Academy doesn't care about the life or death of the Zhuge kingdom. He thought to himself, if I had enough strength, I should enter seclusion and break through to the Supreme Realm. Suo Wuji advised, Howard, you don't have to join me in welcoming these geniuses. I understand your temperament, there might be conflicts. You all go rest first. Wang Zhao asked, Senior brother, don't you like these geniuses? Wang Zhao replied, Senior brother is proud by nature, he definitely doesn't like these geniuses. Qing Xian immediately scolded, shut up. Suo Hao turned and walked into the hall, saying, all right, let's go in first. Wang Zhao followed and said, all right, senior brother. Qing Xian suddenly sensed something and thought to herself, strange, why does that ancient ship feel familiar? As the flying boat landed, it was the time of sunset. Qing Xian covered her chest and shouted, while Changgu glanced at the number above her head and asked, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? She replied, no. I'm fine. His gaze slightly sharpened, could it be that Su Qingshua's fate? Branch mission has been triggered. The little girl from the lower realm is now going to become the daughter of fortune. Qing Xian still covered her chest, asking herself, why do I feel such a strange sensation? Everyone started discussing, Saint Isua has arrived. Saint Isua, did you rest well last night? I heard you cultivated until the 5th watch. Changgu said, seems like you rested well. For this trial, we will trouble Saint Isua to assist. Jiang Suasua remained silent. Everyone continued, indeed, indeed. We trouble the Saintess's heir. As the heir of the Ancestor Hall, you must have many ways to deal with the inborn creatures. She calmly replied, young Master Changgu is strong. With him here, I fear I won't need to intervene. Changgu smiled leisurely, Saint Isua is too humble. I have experienced your depth more than once. Upon hearing this, Suasua tripped slightly. The surrounding discussions grew louder, young Master Changgu and Saint Isua have fought many times. Really? From the sound of it, it seems they haven't decided the winner yet. The Saintess is indeed hiding her strength. A girl seemed to realize something and silently covered her mouth, thinking, are these people so simple? Suasua angrily thought, why are all these shameless people around me? With one foot lightly stepping on the void, Soa Wuji and the civil and military officials began to salute. He said, I am the current ruler of the Zhuke kingdom. I salute the geniuses of the true immortal academy. You all traveled from afar, it must have been hard. The officials exchanged glances and thought, we must not offend these young people. Changgu, Qing Xian, Soa, and others were still standing in midair. He said, there's no need to worry, Lord of the Zhuke kingdom. I have not encountered any great dangers on my journey. Moreover, accompanying me is the heir of the ancestor hall. Don't you trust the conduct of the ancestor hall's heir? Soa thought to herself, you really don't waste the ancestor hall's reputation. Changgu secretly evaluated, I didn't expect this small kingdom to be full of destiny, truly a child of fortune. Wuji asked, the Gu family and ancestor hall have a good relationship. He paused, then said, could it be that you are? He then respectfully lowered his head and said, I salute young Master Changgu. A hand rested on Wuji's hands, saying, there's no need for too much courtesy, Lord. Changgu smiled, I apologize for the disturbances during this journey. I hope the Lord of the Zhuke kingdom won't mind. He said. What is this, young Master Changgu? Your fame is thunderous. With you here, the Zhuke kingdom is saved. Soa stood and watched the two chatting with ease, thinking, pretending, who could outdo you? The two continued talking happily, the harmonious atmosphere spreading around. Wu Jia said, I've arranged the accommodations, everyone, please go rest. Changgu responded, thank you, Your Majesty. Wu Jia continued, I didn't expect you to be so approachable, truly like the rumors say, gentle as jade. In the pitch-black night, Changgu sat and said, since childhood, I displayed incredible talent, but the resources in the Vermilion Bird Kingdom cannot nurture top-tier powerhouses. With no other way, I had to travel the seas. Joining sections 100 years passed in the blink of an eye. I now do not know my cultivation level. Chang Ji's lips curled into a faint smile, although a small bird, it dares to swallow a dragon. The third prince's luck is enough to decorate Jiangyang. I wonder if those experts from ancient times could be reincarnated. Jiang Suo moved swiftly, finding soundless burst hold so quickly. Seems like you don't want to meet me. He then stood and asked, has Su Qingge taken action? His subordinate answered, yes, master. Changgu took a step toward the door. System, is Su Qingge's mission related to her background? The system replied, yes. It seems I need to keep an eye on Su Qingge's movements. But before that, I need to devour the dragon vein of Vermilion Bird Kingdom to break through to the Great Saint Realm. Outside the palace, the lights illuminated the entire courtyard. Wu Jia laughed loudly, I didn't expect the young master of the Gu family and the heir of the human ancestor hall to come. Our kingdom is saved. Saved. Wang Xiao secretly despised this broken palace. Su Hao said, I've heard of the person father mentioned. He is a righteous man, detesting evil. Behind him, there are not only the Gu family and the primordial god sect, but also the heirs of the innate Dao palace. Su Hao continued to praise, it's true, but he has no arrogance. Quite similar to you. If Hao was from the same era, you might have been close friends. Qing Xian looked around, feeling an increasingly strong sense of unease, then said to Su Hao, senior brother, you all continue talking, I'll go for a walk. Su Hao nodded, although Vermilion Bird City is very safe, you must be careful. Qing Xian leapt out and responded, I understand. Wang Xiao called out, hey, junior sister, where are you going? Let me accompany you. Wu Jia said, leave these two to them. Changgu said, the people of the Gu family and Wang family are all extraordinary, nothing will happen, especially Wang Xiao. Xiao stormed out, angrily shouting, where is he? I didn't expect that Ji Qingxian to dare push me aside. Wang Xiao asked, Old Xian, have you seen Ji Qingshuan's trace? Old Xian cupped his hands and replied, Young master, allow me to use my divine sense. He scanned the area and then said, there is someone. A flash of light appeared somewhere, and old Xian said, there. Wang Xiao looked over and whispered, it really is her. But, why has she changed clothes? Chinga's figure flashed across the rooftop in the night. Wang Xiao smiled faintly and said, I sensed something unusual as soon as I arrived in Vermilion Bird City. Now, with this sneaky behavior, there's definitely something suspicious. Let's follow and see. Chinga and Qin Xian stood face to face in a secluded courtyard. The two spoke in unison, it's really you. Chinga exclaimed, sister. And Qin Xian, equally shocked, said, sister. Chinga stepped forward and asked, Qin Xian, how is mother? Qin Xian hesitated, mother is under house arrest by the family. After all, her elopement years ago disgraced the Ji family. If it weren't for my talent, I might have been caught up too. The two young girls stood side by side. Chinga tightly held Qingshuan's hand and said, sister, you've had a hard time, haven't you? Qin Xian retorted, then why did you come to the upper realm? Chinga's eyes lowered slightly, it's a long story. Under the silent night sky, with the crescent moon hanging high, Qin Xian sighed lightly, I see now, sister, you've had such an adventure. While I used to only care about the family's favor, otherwise I never had the thought of surviving. Qin Xian looked up at the night sky and murmured, I also want to live like you, sister. Though I'm just a maid, I could be free and at ease. This time, Chinga's gaze revealed a hint of sadness. She said, Qin Xian, how about we switch identities? After all, we look the same, no one will notice. Qin Xian was stunned, Can that really work? Won't it be exposed? Chinga took a talisman from her bosom and said, this is an ancient talisman, it can conceal our aura. As long as we are careful, there will be no problems. Qin Xian hesitated, sister, you. Chinga pressed the talisman against Qingshuan's chest and said, next, I'll tell you all the details of my contact with the young master. You just need to make sure he doesn't sense anything unusual. This will be me fulfilling a little of your wish. Qin Xian stammered, then I will also tell you about the situation here, sister. The figure behind Chinga said, as expected of sister, Su Chinga even schemes against her own sister. Chinga thought to herself, shut up. Swapping identities with Qin Xian will help me get rid of the suspicion of the young master, and also make it easier for us to act. A loud laugh echoed, not bad, not bad. As the successor of the demonic arts, there's no need to worry about the calamity of absolute silence, devouring all the geniuses is the real task. Under the peaceful night sky, with stars filling the sky, Chinga held Qingshuan's hand and said, by the way, Qin Xian, do not try any tricks. On the young master, no one will be able to save you if you do. Qin Xian replied, okay, I remember. Chinga agreed with her words. Their bodies began to swap. Chinga, in Qingshuan's form, said, now we become each other. On the way back, Qin Xian, in Chinga's identity, pondered, Gu Changa, I wonder how his strength compares to senior brother, this is really worth looking forward to. On the way, a man stopped Qin Xian. She silently muttered his name, Wang Zhao. Wang Zhao said, junior sister, why are you out so late? Who are you talking to? Chinga glanced at Wang Zhao, walking past as if she didn't know him. He said, I'm talking to you, Ji Qin Xian. Seeing Chinga's lack of response, Wang Zhao became annoyed and warned, for senior brother's sake, I'm calling you Ji. Junior sister, but you don't take it seriously, don't forget your ancestor from the Ji family. Feeling his touch, Chinga angrily scolded, who's this pervert, has he eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall? Do you know who I belong to? Chinga kicked Wang Zhao in the stomach, sending him flying into the air. Wang Zhao held his stomach, cursing angrily, you. Ji Qin Xian, are you crazy? How dare you attack me? What status do you have, can the Ji family protect you? Chinga charged at Wang Zhao, thinking to herself, I've wanted to do this for a long time. He screamed in terror, crazy woman, you really want to send me to my death? Elder Xian, save me. A palm suddenly appeared, sending Chinga flying. The old man said, Miss Ji, do you know what you're doing? After stabilizing herself, Chinga covered her nose and said, Great Sage Realm. However, if what you've done reaches young Master Gu, even if you're in the Great Sage Realm, you can't escape death. Elder Xian glanced at Wang Zhao, puzzled, and asked, Young Master, what does Miss Ji mean by that? Wang Zhao interrupted, Don't listen to her nonsense, she's crazy, quickly suppress her, and let me teach her a lesson. Elder Xian seemed to realize something and said, I understand, young master. I've offended Miss Ji. In the silent night, a flash of fire suddenly appeared. Chu Hao stood next to Chu Wujia and said, This aura. Father, I'll go check what happened. He nodded, Hao, go quickly. From the great hall, Chu Hao rushed out, thinking to himself, Great Sage Realm. Who in the city is making a move? Chang'e stood on the roof, watching the light fly away and said, I didn't expect that even the third prince's subordinates have a great sage. Chinga's aura is also nearby, it seems her mission is involved too. Chang'e's eyes suddenly changed color, since the child of destiny has arrived, should the villain also make his appearance? Ji Qingxian, in Su Chinga's identity, was knocked back by Elder Xian's palm. Ji Qingxian frowned, nervously thinking, as expected, this is the work of a great sage, not something I can resist. Elder Xian gathered a force under Ji Qingxuan's feet, but fortunately, she quickly dodged. Wang Zhao stood behind Elder Xian, shouting loudly, Elder Xian, don't hold back, if something happens, my Wang family will take responsibility. He took out a magical jade bottle, and a beam of offensive light surged from within. He immediately responded, understood, young master. Elder Xian controlled the jade bottle, directing it toward Ji Qingxian. The bottle grew larger, and Ji Qingxian immediately retreated swiftly. Chu Hao flew from a distance and shouted, Stop. Wang Xiao heard the voice and widened his eyes in surprise. Chu Hao quickly flew to Ji Qingxuan's side, extending his hand to block the magic bottle with a spell. He loudly asked, Junior brother, what are you doing? The magic bottle vanished, and Wang Xiao said loudly, Senior brother, you've finally arrived. Today, Junior sister Ji went crazy and tried to kill me, so I had no choice but to let Elder Xian take action. Chu Hao turned around in surprise to look at Ji Qingxian, nonsense. How could Junior sister try to kill you? Junior sister, is that true? Ji Qingxian, sweating and tired, replied calmly, Who is your junior sister? I am Su Chinga. Su Chinga, disguised as Ji Qingxian, lightly flew from the distance. She asked in confusion, Senior brother, what happened? I heard an explosion. Ji Qingxian, Chu Hao, Elder Xian, and Wang Xiao looked at Su Chinga in confusion. Wang Xiao opened his mouth in shock. And asked, What? How can there be two Ji Qingxuans? What is that? Elder Xian also said doubtfully, Young master, this isn't right. Could we have mistaken someone? Su Chinga landed between the four, glancing at Elder Xian and Wang Xiao. Chu Hao asked in confusion, What is going on? Ji Qingxian and Su Chinga remained silent, unsure how to respond. Gu Chang'e appeared, standing in the air and saying, Can anyone tell me what happened here? With his arrival, a pressure from the space descended, overwhelming everyone. He continued, You're ignoring the Yinyang disaster and fighting here. Wang Xiao broke into a cold sweat and said in confusion, The pressure is too strong. Who is this person? Elder Xian froze and replied, If I'm not mistaken, this person is probably the legendary young master of the Gu family. Chu Hao looked at Gu Chang'e expressionlessly and thought to himself, This is Gu Chang'e. Ji Qingxian whispered. In surprise, this is the famous righteous first person, Gu Chang'e, the young master my sister often mentions. Gu Chang'e landed and stood next to Su Chinga. He glanced at her and said, Chinga, how did you end up here? Are you alright? Su Chinga froze and asked, Excuse me, young master Gu, are you speaking to me? Do we know each other? Gu Chang'e looked at her seriously, his mind full of doubt. What's going on? Why is she dressed like this? Ji Qingxian crossed her arms and slowly walked toward Gu Chang'e. Young master, you've finally come. He looked at her in confusion, his mind full of questions. Su Qing'e calmly observed the two, and Ji Qingxian continued, Qing'e has been bullied terribly. Gu Chang'e turned sharply toward Su Qing'e with a confused expression, and she just smiled, saying nothing. Gu Chang'e looked up at Su Qing'e's stats, 7205. She saw this and immediately became anxious, her face full of doubt. He smiled faintly, understanding in his heart, I see now. This is Qing'e's mission. It's an identity swap play, how interesting. Gu Chang'e immediately stepped back from Su Qing'e and said, sorry, I mistook you for someone else. Su Qing'e was stunned by his attitude, and Ji Qingxuan's expression darkened as she whispered, young master. Gu Chang'e excitedly embraced Ji Qingxian and frowned, asking, Qing'e, what happened? How did you get so injured? The system detected Ji Qingxuan's current state, minor injury detected. She replied tiredly, young master, I just went for a stroll in the Zhuke ancient kingdom. Ji Qingxian continued, I was harassed several times by a lecher, and later he summoned a great saint to attack me. Gu Chang'e looked at Elder Xian and Wang Xiao, both of whom were stunned and exclaimed loudly, this. Gu Chang'e's expression grew serious, and he exclaimed in surprise, I can't believe someone dared to attack one of my servants. Ji Qingxian weakly said, young master, sorry to worry you. I'm fine. Gu Chang'e directly picked up Ji Qingxian and said, what happened? Your internal organs are injured. Don't worry, I'm here to protect you. She immediately turned red and felt shy as he suddenly embraced her. Ji Qingxian widened her eyes, gazing up at Gu Chang'e, thinking, so strong, so gentle, my sister is truly blessed. Gu Chang'e knelt down, placed Ji Qingxian on the ground, and let her lean against the bridge rail. Rest here quietly, I'll handle them. Su Qing'e's other persona surfaced, sneering, your sister isn't simple. I guess she's already planned to stay close to you, young Master Gu. Su Qing'e blankly stared at the two, cursing inwardly, shut up. Gu Chang'e gently closed his eyes and asked calmly, speak, how do you want to die? Su Qing'e looked at Wang Xiao and Xian Lao, both were stunned. Xian Lao repeated his words in his heart, speak, how do you want to die? Wang Xiao anxiously explained, Elonga, it's just a misunderstanding. As you can see, this girl looks like my junior sister, I really didn't mean it, please be magnanimous. Gu Chang'e opened his eyes and glanced at him, another fool, or do you want me to? Gu Chang'e instantly appeared behind Wang Xiao and Xian Lao, and said in a low voice, do it yourself. Their eyes widened in shock, thinking, so fast. Wang Xiao was drenched in cold sweat, gritting his teeth, thinking to himself, I'm this old, and it's the first time I've been threatened and humiliated like this. Does he think I'm a sick cat just because the tiger doesn't show its teeth? Wang Xiao quickly knelt down with a thud. Wang Xiao pressed his hands against his chest, looked up at Gu Chang'e, and begged, Longa, please. Spare my life, I won't dare again. I'm willing to apologize and compensate your maid, just let me go. Gu Chang'e looked at Ji Qingxian and asked, Qing'e, how do you want to deal with him? Wang Xiao was dripping with cold sweat, nervously looking at her, and Xian Lao also nervously looked at Ji Qingxian, Miss. Ji Qingxian forced a smile and replied, Qing'e listens to the young master's arrangement. The system showed Ji Qingxuan's value as 3,000, and she thought to herself, forget what I just thought, this man is too terrifying, I must not let him know I'm an imposter. Gu Chang'e looked at Wang Xiao with a terrifyingly serious expression, slowly saying, all right, since that's the case, I'll just kill him. Wang Xiao quickly pointed at Xian Lao, panic-stricken, shouting, no, it wasn't me, Longa, it was Xian Lao who harmed your maid. I didn't even make a move yet. Gu Chang'e glanced at Xian Lao, then said, oh. Xian Lao, terrified, looked at him and said to Wang Xiao, young master, you. Xian Lao cupped his hands respectfully, saying, Longa, this matter is my fault. I'm willing to cripple my arms to atone. For this to you and your maid. Gu Changa looked down at his arms and said calmly, the arms of a great saint, I see. Gu Changa sharply lifted his gaze and continued, still not enough. Then, Gu Changa released a fiery red power and struck Xian Lao, sending him flying. Chu Hao saw Xian Lao being knocked into him, frowned, and then stepped aside. He thought to himself, this already affects the origin. Gu Changa is definitely not the kind person the emperor described. Xian Lao lay heavily on the ground, coughing a few times, weakly saying, this should give my young master some face. Ji Qingxuan's eyes widened, staring at Xian Lao in shock, thinking to herself, even a great saint guardian. Su Qingga remained silent, unable to express her feelings. Su Qingga's other personality looked at Gu Changa and Wang Xiao with excitement, saying, to be honest, I really like his temperament, he's more like a practitioner of demonic arts. Su Qingga glanced at him, thinking, the young master has never been easy to talk to, outsiders can't tell. Su Qingga suppressed her gaze and remained silent. Wang Xiao slowly turned his head and looked at Xian Lao, his face filled with fear. Xian Lao actually. Gu Changa looked at him with reddened eyes, you have a good guardian, it's a pity. Hearing this, Wang Xiao's eyes widened, filled with even more terror. He stared at Chu Hao, desperately hoping for his help. Wang Xiao thought, right, there's also the eldest senior brother. He will definitely save me. Wang Xiao suddenly stood up, ran toward Chu Hao, shouting loudly as he ran, eldest senior brother, save me. I don't want to die. Wang Xiao hid behind Chu Hao, gripping his sleeve tightly, forcing a smile, eldest senior brother, save me. The Wang family will definitely. At the same time, he thought to himself, that person seems more like the child of destiny than others from the human race. The system displayed Soa Hao's fortune index as a mysterious number. Soa Hao frowned, his expression serious as he stared at Gu Changa, feeling displeased but unable to retort. Some people started gathering after noticing the commotion, and one asked, quick, look, isn't that the third prince and the young master Changa? Why are they drawing swords and drawing bows? Someone else agreed, yeah. What exactly happened? Soa Hao respectfully cupped his hands and said, young master Changa has misunderstood. I don't want to be your enemy. But as your senior, I cannot stand by idly. Junior brother Wang Zhao's guardian has already paid the price, how about? Gu Changa's face turned cold, and he directly interrupted his words, what are you talking about? I was planning to spare him, but now I've changed my mind. I don't care what forces you have behind you, I will ask you one question. Gu Changa's sharp eyes glinted as he asked, today, will you, the third prince, insist on protecting him? Wang Zhao's expression changed drastically, and he looked at Soa Hao in fear, stammering, senior brother, you can't just ignore me. The Wang family will never let you suffer. Soa Hao glanced at him and silently thought, with my realm, Gu Changa himself is not frightening. Although the Chongqing Gu family behind him is powerful, they wouldn't degrade themselves for such a small matter. Soa Hao clenched his fist slightly and continued thinking, although the Wang family cannot be compared to the Gu family, if Wang Xiao gets into trouble here, the ancient Zhuge kingdom might also get involved. Soa Hao cupped his hands again and said, young master Changa, this is just a misunderstanding. Why be so aggressive? Besides, junior brother is willing to compensate that young lady, and in my opinion, Gu Changa's palm began to emanate power, and he coldly said, protecting a bully of the weak, in my view. Soa Hao frowned, his expression serious. Gu Changa quickly raised his hand, and several beams of light slashed toward Soa Hao. At the same time, he shouted, you should fight back. Soa Hao immediately raised his hand, forming a water ring to block the attack. A faint mist appeared on Soa Hao's hand. He frowned and sternly asked, Gu Changa, as a high-ranking disciple of the True Immortal Academy, can you be so reckless, oppressing others without regard for their lives? Without the Chongqinggu family, how would you have the power and position you do now? And I, as a person from a small country in the lower realm, have walked step by step to this point. Do you think you can understand? Gu Chang'e thought to himself, no wonder he's not afraid of my pressure, it turns out this kid's realm is above mine. He chuckled lightly and said, the third prince is good at quibbling. Where the magical forces collided, smoke filled the air. Gu Chang'e spread his arms and spoke calmly, now, the spirits of absolute sound are running rampant, the people of the ancient Zhuge kingdom are suffering, the true Immortal Academy has come from afar to provide aid, and yet you are willing to turn against me for a person who bullied my maid. It seems this junior brother has helped you greatly on your path to the Tao, at least. Suo Hao's heart tightened upon hearing this, and his expression grew serious as he lowered his head. Wang Xiao looked around in shock. Gu Chang'e concluded, it seems even more important than the common people who are in dire straits. More and more spectators gathered, and upon hearing this, everyone was shocked and began discussing, what exactly did the third prince's junior brother do? That person harassed and beat up young Master Chang'e's maid, but why would the third prince? Who knows? Suo Hao shouted, Gu Chang'e, you are so cruel and ruthless, do you still consider yourself a righteous gentleman? What good is saying these things for you? Gu Chang'e closed his eyes and lightly smiled, righteous gentleman, is merely a compliment from my friends. I have never mentioned it myself. Alright, since the third prince is so confused about right and wrong. He opened his eyes, looked at Suo Hao, and still smiled as he continued, then let the Zhuge kingdom's ruler come and judge this matter. Suo Hao, upon hearing the words, king, instantly became furious, releasing all of his power. Blue energy spread through his body, and he roared, what do you want to do? The space gradually became covered by a transparent blue light ring, and countless bolts of lightning shot toward Gu Chang'e. Suo Hao shouted again in anger, Gu Chang'e, you dare. But Gu Chang'e remained calm, standing still. A brilliant blue light beam shot toward the sky, with layers of transparent light rings covering the vast space. Someone shouted loudly, a quasi-supreme. Someone else exclaimed, oh my god, the third prince is actually a quasi-supreme. Incredible, when he left the imperial city, he. Another person marveled, the third prince is indeed a monster. This kind of power cannot be described with genius, it's simply unbelievable. Wang Xiao, seeing such terrifying power, turned pale and almost cried, exclaiming, I didn't expect senior brother to be a quasi-supreme. Great, I'm saved. Su Qingjia looked at Suo Hao's power, nervously thinking to herself, before, I had never heard of anyone reaching the supreme level at such a young age. No wonder senior brother is so highly valued by the supreme cave heaven. Suo Hao's expression became solemn, and he said in a deep voice, Gu Chang'e, protecting junior brother is my personal act, unrelated to the ancient Zhuge kingdom. If you want to move against my father, then. Gu Chang'e raised his hand and smiled, saying, a quasi-supreme, I see. Is this your final trump card? Gu Chang'e thought to himself, interesting, then he snapped his fingers. The crowd began to look up at the sky, and they said in fear, that is. The people floating in the air also nervously looked up, one of them spoke, this is the realm of absolute sound that Master Chang'e once used. Someone recognized it and shouted loudly, the Supreme Seal. Sure enough, at that moment, the Supreme Seal, Gu Chang'e's magic treasure, appeared clearly in the sky, enormous, causing huge waves on the water's surface. Chu Hao's eyes were full of shock, he clenched his teeth and thought to himself, Supreme Artifact, is this the gap in power? Damn it! Damn it! The Supreme Seal overwhelmed Chu Hao's power at that moment, and Gu Chang'e sneered, what? Not going to make a move. At this moment, the two of them arrived with the country lord, and the purple-haired man urged, hurry up. The country lord asked, what's going on here? Chu Hao shouted loudly, father. Gu Chang'e turned to the three of them, frowned. And said, "Nonsense. I asked you to bring the country lord, who told you to be disrespectful. Let go of him." The country lord respectfully cupped his hands to Gu Changa and asked, "Master Changa, what is this?" He closed his eyes, smiled, and answered, "Just inviting the Zhuke country lord to come and watch the fun, no need to worry." Wang Zhao was sweating profusely, his face blank as he said, "Master brother, if something happens to me, our family will never let Zhuke ancient country go. You know my uncle, he." Chu Hao clenched his fists, veins bulging, hesitating, he said, "Junior brother, I have no way out." Wang Zhao reached out to grab Chu Hao, his face pale as he shouted, "Master brother, you can't give up on me." Chu Hao hurriedly leaped toward the country lord. Chu Hao stood before the country lord but occasionally glanced at Gu Changa. He spoke, "This matter has nothing to do with Zhuke country." The country lord joyfully called, "Hao." Gu Changa glanced at Chu Hao and smiled, "A person who knows when to bend is a wise man, the third prince is indeed clever." Then, Gu Changa stared at Wang Zhao and thought, "No rush, let me take some of your luck first, then it's not too late to move against you. Now, I will enjoy the appetizer." The system displayed Wang Zhao's luck value as 250, and he stood in shock, stammering, "Why? Why did it become like this?" The sky became calm again, blue and peaceful. The sunset slowly sank, sketching a beautiful evening scene. In the imperial city of Zhuke ancient country, the country lord sighed, "I once thought he had a gentle temperament, but it turns out it was all a facade. However, Hao, you acted too impulsively today. If you have offended Gu Changa, it will be difficult to protect Wang Zhao." Chu Hao looked at the country lord and replied in a deep voice, "Father, you are right, I didn't think this through." Su Chinga stood aside, watching the two talk. The country lord suddenly became overjoyed, even teary-eyed, saying, "Fortunately, today Hao, you have broken through to semi-supreme. One day, Zhuke ancient country will prosper because of you, and then, even Gu Changa, we won't have to fear." Su Chinga looked at the two of them, thinking to herself, "You don't know how terrifying the young master is." Su Chinga pretended to wipe away her tears and said with self-blame, "Master brother, it's all my fault. If I hadn't gone out in the middle of the night, Wang Zhao senior brother wouldn't have." Chu Hao immediately turned to look at her, saying, "Junior sister, it's not your fault. Wang Zhao's bad nature is hard to change. And Gu Changa is too powerful, no one can do anything. But that woman's appearance is so similar to yours, do you know why?" Su Chinga stared blankly at Chu Hao and softly replied, "I don't know, but my mother once descended to the lower realms, maybe. It's because of that strange feeling that I chose to leave the palace." Chu Hao stroked his chin, pondering, "I see." Outside the palace, a subordinate hurried in and knelt respectfully to report to the country lord, outside the hall, Miss One requests to see the third prince. Su Chinga's mind was filled with questions, and she turned to look. Chu Hao was surprised, "Wanner." The country lord patted his shoulder and smiled, "Go, catch up with her." Tang Wan stood outside the palace waiting, thinking to herself, "Brother Chu Hao." Tang Wan smiled as she looked into the grand hall. The system prompted, "The lucky child Chu Hao has gained his wish, and his luck has greatly increased." Gu Changa looked up seriously but still maintained a smile. He thought to himself, "This is really the first time I've met someone whose fortune increases after I hit them. Damn, but this is even more interesting." The crowd started to look up at the sky, and they said in terror, That's. Those hovering in the air also nervously looked up. One of them spoke, "This is the place where young Master Changa once used the absolute silence." Someone recognized it and shouted loudly, "The Supreme Seal." Sure enough, at that moment, the Supreme Seal, Gu Changa's magic treasure, was clearly displayed in the sky, enormous, causing the water's surface to churn violently. Chu Hao's gaze was shocked. He clenched his teeth and thought to himself, "A supreme artifact, is this the difference in strength? Damn! Damn!" The Supreme Seal crushed Chu Hao's current power. Gu Chang'e sneered, what? Not going to make a move? Chu Hao was speechless. At this moment, two people arrived with the monarch. The purple-haired man urged, hurry up. The monarch asked, how? What's going on? Chu Hao shouted loudly, father. Gu Chang'e turned his head and looked at the three, frowning, nonsense. I told you to invite the monarch, but who allowed you to disrespect him? Hurry up and let him go. The monarch cupped his hands respectfully and asked Gu Chang'e, young Master Chang'e, what is this? Gu Chang'e closed his eyes and smiled, answering, I just asked for the vermilion bird's monarch to come watch the fun. The monarch need not worry. Wang Zhao was sweating, his expression dazed as he said, senior brother, if something happens to me, my family won't let the vermilion bird kingdom go. You know my uncle, Chu Hao clenched his fists, veins bulging, hesitating as he said, junior brother, I have no way out. Wang Zhao reached out and grabbed Chu Hao, his face pale as he shouted, senior brother, you can't give up on me. Chu Hao hurriedly jumped toward where the monarch was. Chu Hao stood in front of the monarch, but still occasionally glanced at Gu Chang'e. He spoke, this has nothing to do with the vermilion bird kingdom. The monarch called out joyfully, how? Gu Chang'e glanced at Chu Hao and smiled, those who know how to read the situation are the true heroes. The third prince is indeed clever. Then, Gu Chang'e stared at Wang Zhao and thought to himself, no rush, I'll first take some of your fortune, and then I can act. For now, I'll enjoy the appetizer. The system displayed Wang Zhao's fortune value as 250, and he stood there stunned, stammering, why? Why did it become like this? The sky returned to calm, a deep blue and serene. The setting sun slowly sank, outlining a beautiful dusk scene. In the vermilion bird kingdom's imperial palace, the monarch sighed, I once thought he had a gentle temperament, but it seems it was just a facade. However, you acted too rashly today. If you've offended Gu Chang'e, it will be hard to protect Wang Zhao. Chu Hao looked at the monarch and answered in a deep voice, father's words are true. I didn't think this through. Su Qingge stood beside them, watching their conversation. The monarch suddenly became ecstatic, even with tears in his eyes, fortunately, you broke through to Quasi-Supreme. Today. One day, the vermilion bird kingdom will flourish because of you. By then, even Gu Chang'e, we won't have to fear. Su Qingge watched the two and thought to herself, you have no idea how terrifying the young master is. Su Qingge reached out and pretended to wipe away her tears, saying regretfully, senior brother, this is all my fault. If I hadn't gone out in the middle of the night, senior brother Wang Zhao wouldn't. Chu Hao immediately turned to look at her, junior sister, it's not your fault. Wang Zhao's character is hard to change, and Gu Chang'e is too strong. No one can do anything about it. However, that woman's appearance is so similar to yours, do you know why? Su Qingge gazed at Chu Hao absent-mindedly and whispered, I don't know, but my mother once descended to the lower realm. Perhaps. It was because of that strange feeling that I chose to leave the palace. Chu Hao stroked his chin, pondering, I see. Outside the palace, a subordinate hurriedly ran in, kneeling respectfully to report, Your Majesty, Miss One is asking to see the third prince. Su Qingge had a question in her mind and turned around to look. Chu Hao was surprised, Wanner. The monarch patted his shoulder and smiled, go ahead, you two can catch up. Tang Wan stood outside the palace waiting, thinking to herself, Brother Hao. Tang Wan smiled as she looked inside the palace. System prompt, the child of fortune Chu Hao has received what he desired, and his fortune has greatly increased. Gu Chang'e softly said, oh. He sat cross-legged in his room, smiling as he looked at the system panel, continuing to think. Because he opposed me, he accidentally exposed his cultivation and became the youngest Quasi-Supreme, praised by the world. After listening to Qin Gu, her face showed some surprise. She took a step back and asked, what did my younger sister say? Qing Xian, seeing Qin Gu so surprised, said, Sister, I'm sorry. Is it because I? Su Qin Gu turned her face away, though her heart ached, she still said, "It's fine, I don't blame you." Seeing Qing Gu so sad, Qing Xian quickly asked in confusion, "Sister, haven't you?" Qing Gu thought sadly, "Why is the young master treating me like this?" Closing her eyes, she recalled the times when she laughed with the young master. I think that guy likes to play hard to get. It seems like the women who come to him willingly aren't his type." Qing Gu secretly guessed, has the young master already figured it out? In the ancient Holy Spirit city, Enmi angrily asked, "What kind of attitude is this? You can't even find a bit of information." The two maids lowered their heads and answered, "Please calm down, young lady." Gu Changgu sat at the back, leisurely picking up a teacup and tasting it, casually saying, "Forget it, Enmi, there's no need to investigate anymore." When Enmi heard Gu Changji's voice, she immediately changed from angry to gentle and respectfully said, "Master." Gu Changgu continued, "I already know who has been secretly helping Chu Hao. The Wandao Business Alliance knows everything. If they can hide the information from him, it must be someone from within the Wandao Business Alliance." Enmi replied, "I'm inside the Business Alliance, and no one dares to go against the master blindly." Gu Changgu calmly continued, "In the Zhuke ancient kingdom, I've already investigated. Chu Hao had a childhood sweetheart named Tang Wan. And this Tang Wan, isn't she one of your Business Alliance's people? Do you know this person?" Enmi gently patted Gu Changji's shoulder and confirmed, "Of course, I know her. She started working in the Business Alliance hundreds of years ago and is quite capable. Her grandfather is the leader of a branch in our alliance, and she holds some power inside the alliance." Gu Changgu puzzled, "The leader of a branch of the Wandao Business Alliance. That power is indeed significant." Enmi then revealed her plan, "Master. Tang Wan has a younger brother named Tang Tian. The Tang family dotes on him greatly. He is usually domineering and depraved. We can use him." After hearing this, Gu Changgu seemed quite pleased. She gently set down her teacup and praised, "As expected, it's a good thing your tea brewing skills are decent." Enmi happily replied, "If you like it, master, I'll brew tea for you every day." On Tang Tian's side, a tall man carried a female cultivator on his shoulder and excitedly said, "Young master, the female cultivator we just bought is enough for you to play with for a while." The young man beside him looked listless, with heavy dark circles under his eyes, as if he hadn't slept for days, sighing, "It's no fun. I'm already tired of playing with human women." At this moment, Tang Tian felt a surge of desire, "If I can get a few from the Spirit Clan or Monster Clan, or even all the demons, that would be extremely exciting. Especially that famous demon queen, she must be incredibly alluring." When the shopkeeper saw Tang Tian coming, he immediately went to greet him, saying, "Ah! Isn't this young master Tang? Please come in, please come in. We've just received a new batch of goods at the Drunken Immortal Pavilion. Would you like to have a look?" Tang Tian, seeing this, impatiently said, "You fat old woman, what good stuff does your lousy Drunken Immortal Pavilion have? They're not even as good as the slaves I bought." The shopkeeper hurriedly leaned toward Tang Tian's ear and whispered, "Young master, you don't know, but this time Drunken Immortal Pavilion has brought back an exiled nine-tailed fox." Hearing this, Tang Tian's eyes immediately lit up, and he hurriedly asked, "Really? Is it the nine-tailed fox, the one so high above, that was exiled?" The shopkeeper continued to tempt him, pulling Tang Tian inside as he spoke, "Young master, don't worry, it's definitely true. How dare I lie to you? Hurry inside and take a look." Tang Tian, hearing about the new goods, immediately felt happy, waving his hand to signal his subordinates to stay behind. He grinned, "Hee, fine, today I'll have a look at this nine-tailed fox." At this moment, one of Enmi's maids was tightly bound, a cloth shoved in her mouth preventing her from screaming. Upon hearing someone enter, she immediately looked up. Tang Tian walked into the room and saw the nine-tailed fox lying on the bed. He excitedly said, "TSK TSK TSK, the shopkeeper didn't lie to me, didn't lie to me." Tang Tian, while taking off his outer clothes, continued, "I often hear my sister say that your clan always rides on the Tang family's head, especially in me. I can't touch her, so today I'll ride on your head and vent my anger." After saying these lewd words, Tang Tian had already stripped off all his clothes. Ignoring the maid's cries, he laughed and walked toward her, saying, "The young master is here." However, before he could touch a single hair of the maid, the door was suddenly slammed open, and Yi angrily shouted, "Tang Tian!" Tang Tian, hearing someone shout his name, trembled in fear and asked, "Who?" Yi coldly looked at the shopkeeper and questioned, "Shopkeeper, what is going on here?" The shopkeeper immediately changed his expression and, with a mournful face, explained, "Heavenly Lady, forgive me. This was all ordered by young Master Tang. He asked me to arrange a room for him. I had no idea he would be so audacious." Tang Tian turned around, looking panicked, and said, "Me? What is this fat old woman doing?" The maid, no longer pretending, spat softly, and the cloth in her mouth fell out. Tang Tian, seeing this, was stunned. The maid, crying, complained, "Miss, you finally came, please save me. Tang Tian is despicable and shameless, he knocked me out and brought me here, he wants." Tang Tian, hearing the maid's accusations, stood frozen, unable to say a word in defense. Wei angrily seemed ready to attack the despicable person. She asked, in broad daylight, "How dare you touch my maid? Do the Tang family not recognize the nine-tailed Sky Fox clan?" Tang Tian froze and replied, I was tricked." Wei forcefully tied up Tang Tian, making him kneel in front of her. Gu Chang'e also appeared beside her. And Wei immediately questioned him, "Tang Tian, do you want to harm my grandfather and sister?" Tang Tian quickly denied, "No, I had no involvement with the Wan Dao Merchant Alliance, why are you capturing me?" Wei angrily said, "What nonsense are you spouting? The evidence is irrefutable, and you still want to argue?" Gu Chang'e, standing by, added, Wei, who is this scoundrel, daring to offend your maid? He should have been punished long ago." Chang'e, while calming Wei, summoned an item to punish Tang Tian. "Lady Tian, please calm down. I have a magical artifact that should make this foolish rogue realize what he has done." Wei, satisfied, said, "If that's the case, then I will borrow this item of yours." At that moment, Tang Tian, tears streaming down his face, continued to desperately argue, "I did not offend her." He cursed, "You lackeys, slandering me, framing me." Tang Tian warned, Wei, "If you dare kill me, my Tang family and grandfather will never let this go." As soon as the words left his mouth, a huge golden scissor flew straight toward Tang Tian, who was kneeling. Seeing the scissors, his face turned pale, and he dared not shout anymore. Gu Chang'e ordered, "Take him away, execute him. If young Master Tang repents and reveals the truth, record it in the shadow stone." Hearing the judgment, Tang Tian cursed, "You murderer, you're truly insidious." After cursing, he fearfully said, "I confess. I confess. I was bold enough to try to abduct Lady Wei's maid when I was drunk and tried to commit beastly acts, but was caught by her on the spot, sob sob sob." After confessing, Tang Tian still shouted in dissatisfaction, "Grandfather! Sister! Hurry and save me, sob. They're too despicable." Before he could finish, he was dragged away for execution. Only Gu Chang'e and Wei remained in the room. Chang'e spoke, "Aren't you going to the academy to seek the real truth?" Wei replied, "My strength has reached its limit, and instead of going to the academy, it's better to help the master with other matters." Upon hearing this, Gu Chang'e said no more. Have all of his subordinates been dealt with?" Wei confirmed, "Yes. Though Tang Tian is foolish, his sister Tang Wan is no simple matter. She probably won't believe easily. Chang'e smirked slyly, saying, whether she believes or not is irrelevant. When dealing with prey, there's no need to overthink. Then, Gu Chang'e gently took Yin Wei's hand and said, all right. He continued, before the fish bites, let's take a walk. Yin Wei felt a little shy from his sudden gesture. But she didn't refuse and happily agreed. At the Tang family, Tang Wan was focused on painting, and the strokes on the canvas contained immense power. While painting, she murmured, brother. See how, I hope you break through to the supreme realm soon. Then, even if Gu Chang'e has a supreme artifact, he won't be able to harm you. As soon as the brush stopped, strands of black smoke began to emerge from the painting. The ink that Tang Wan had painted turned into fierce beasts. She gazed at them and sighed, saying, my painting ability can barely match the Saint realm. To help brother see how, it's still far from enough. Suddenly, a maid rushed in, pushed open the door, and shouted in panic, Miss. Miss. Something big has happened. Tang Wan calmly asked, haven't I taught you to remain calm in situations like this? Why are you so frantic? Stay calm. The maid still couldn't calm down and hurriedly reported, Miss, after young master got drunk in the Holy Spirit. Ancient city, he attempted to violate Lady Yin Wei's maid, and was caught by Lady Yin Wei on the spot. Tang Wan, hearing this, stood up in anger and slammed the table, shouting, what? That fool Tang Tian dared to touch someone from the nine-tailed Skyfox clan. After calming down, Tang Wan fell into thought, no. No matter how foolish Tang Tian is, he knows that our Tang family balances the Wan Dao merchant alliance and the nine-tailed Skyfox clan. How could he be so careless to get caught? There must be something hidden in this matter. The maid continued, Miss, Lady Yin Wei has already released the Shadow Stone, and young master confessed his crime. The whole Holy Spirit ancient city knows about it, and father is so angry that he said he won't handle it anymore. Tang Wan whispered, such a matter that damages the family's reputation, grandfather won't help. It seems I'll have to personally go and redeem him. The maid asked worriedly, Miss, you and Lady Yin Wei have always had conflicts. Isn't it dangerous for you to go personally this time? Tang Wan answered confidently, her cultivation is about the same as mine. She can't harm me. If you're worried about an ambush, bring experts who are loyal to my jade talisman. Even so, the person Tang Wan felt the safest with, the one she trusted the most, was still See How. A trace of worry flashed in her eyes as she thought, this matter is better handled by brother See How, it's the safest. But right now, he should be in Zhuke ancient city, dealing with the calamity of absolute sound. As expected, Chu Hao was fully immersed in cultivating the curse of absolute sound. Several people stood nearby watching his cultivation, and one of them remarked, as expected of a quasi-supreme, he possesses such overwhelming power. Jiang Chu was also present, and upon seeing Chu Hao diligently cultivating, she thought to herself, is he the third prince who has a conflict with Gu Chang'e? How pitiful. Chu Hao raised one hand high, and black currents of air formed a vortex around him as he stood at the center, becoming the most dazzling focus. Suddenly, Chu Hao furrowed his brows and said, strange. Why does my right eye keep twitching these past few days? Meanwhile, Tang Wan had already arrived at Wan Mi's location, walking in with large strides and saying, Wan Mi, I didn't expect you to use such tactics. I truly valued your attitude. Seeing Tang Wan appear, Wan Mi politely asked, Sister Wan, how have you been lately? Tang Wan didn't beat around the bush and got straight to the point, let's not say such pleasantries. Where is my brother? Wan Mi slowly walked closer and said, Sister Wan, don't worry. Tang Tian is fine. Tang Wan already had an answer in her heart, and she knew there must be more to the story. She said, as expected, my foolish brother has been set up by you. What are your demands? Just say it. Wan Mi replied unceremoniously, Sister Wan, you're so understanding. Then, I'll make a small request. I want to control the power of Jiqin ancient city. Tang Wan expressionlessly said, "Wan Mi. Aren't you being a bit too greedy? Don't you think this demand is excessive?" Wan Mi laughed lightly, if Sister Wan doesn't want to save your brother, why waste so much breath with me? Tang Wan also made a request, Jiqin ancient city. It's not impossible to agree, but I must first confirm that my brother is safe. Wan Mi said, I'm afraid you'll have to meet someone first. Tang Wan asked, what do you mean? Wan Mi cautiously said, please take a look, sister. Tang Wan followed Wan Mi's pointing direction and looked towards the city gate, waiting to meet the person she was about to see. A tall figure appeared, slowly walking toward her. The person was none other than Gu Chang'e, who appeared with a mysterious air, a faint smile on his lips as he calmly looked at Tang Wan. Seeing this, Tang Wan was slightly surprised and involuntarily took a step back, exclaiming, Gu Chang'e. His sudden appearance startled her, but he calmly said, oh, so you know me. However, I advise you to put down the jade talisman. After all, the information here cannot be transmitted, and Gu Chang'e's gaze turned sharp as he asked, you don't want your brother to get into trouble, do you? Tang Wan anxiously asked, how are you here? Shouldn't you be in Zhuke ancient city fighting the curse of absolute sound? Gu Chang'e answered indifferently, oh, do you think that matters to me? A sinister smile appeared on his face as he continued, all you need to know is that today, no one can save you. Hearing Gu Chang'e's threat, Tang Wan furiously said, so it was all your plot. Why? Gu Chang'e spoke as he summoned a slave mark, why? Do you want to ask how I know about your relationship with Chu Hao? Or how I know you want to help him fight me? Wan Mi stood by and listened, guessing in her heart, this. Gu Chang'e continued, you have your spies, and I have mine. Chu Hao offended me, so I naturally investigated everything about him. Including you, his childhood sweetheart. Tang Wan, in fear, said, what do you want to do? The Tang family knows I came here today. If something happens to me, you won't get away unscathed. Gu Chang'e was unafraid, instantly vanishing and appearing behind Tang Wan, whispering a threat, I see you're scared silly. Trying to use the Tang family to threaten me. What is the Tang family? Tang Wan was even more terrified, hardly believing what she was hearing. But she wouldn't let Gu Chang'e succeed. Tang Wan immediately took action, saying firmly, I'll fight you. However, Tang Wan's power was ultimately no match for Gu Chang'e. Even though she used her painting abilities to counterattack. Gu Chang'e had already reached the supreme realm. With just a use of heart ink transformation, he easily sent Tang Wan flying. Chang'e calmly stood there and said, logically, we have no grudges, yet you secretly helped Chu Hao to deal with me. So, I can't be blamed for this. Tang Wan was struck by Chang'e and was unable to fight back, leaving her at his mercy. Seeing Tang Wan fall freely, Yin Mi took the opportunity to pounce with her tail, attempting to bind Tang Wan. Tang Wan's hands were tightly bound by the fox's tail. Even Yin Mi's legs weren't spared. Tang Wan was bound by Yin Mi's fox tail, unable to break free. She angrily shouted, Yin Mi. You, let go of me. Yin Mi didn't respond, instead dragging Tang Wan and smashing her onto the ground. Tang Wan screamed in pain from the intense impact, blood splattering out. Gu Chang'e stepped forward and said, all right, relax, let me plant the slave mark. After that, I'll release your dear brother. Although Tang Wan was helpless and beaten, she still stubbornly retorted, cough, you dream on. Even if I die, I won't let you control me. Do you think I care about Tang Tian that much? Chang'e replied indifferently, fine, I'll plant the slave mark on your brother, help him increase his strength, then have him return to the Tang family and lie in wait until he personally kills his parents, grandfather, and all the family members. Tang Wan angrily cursed, you damn dog, despicable and shameless. Chang'e remained unaffected. He gave Tang Wan a choice, I'm just giving an example. There are many ways to destroy your Tang family. Will you sacrifice yourself to save the entire clan, or choose to commit suicide and let the whole clan perish? You don't have much time to think. Tang Wan seemed to have foreseen her fate, tears welling up in her eyes as she said, I want you to swear on your Tao heart and promise me one request. Gu Chang'e silently listened. Tang Wan sorrowfully voiced her wish, don't harm Chu Hao's life. As she said this, tears fell, filled with deep affection for Chu Hao. Even in this moment of being controlled by Gu Chang'e, her thoughts remained on Chu Hao. Hao Gu, I'm sorry, Wana has done her best. Chang'e, hearing Tang Wan's request, slightly raised the corners of his mouth, although you're not qualified to make demands, I have compassion, so I'll agree to it. He then continued, I, Gu Chang'e, swear on my Tao heart today. If I break this oath, my Tao heart will collapse, my cultivation will go astray, and I'll be obliterated by heaven and earth. After finishing, Chang'e planted the slave mark on Tang Wan. Gu Chang'e thought to himself, Chu Hao, I've finally prepared this surprise for you. At this moment, Tang Wan had become Gu Chang'e's servant. She knelt on the ground and whispered, Master. Chang'e said, you don't need to worry too much. As long as Chu Hao stays obedient and behaves like a prince of sparrows, I won't harm him. Tang Wan obediently answered, yes. Hearing Chang'e's promise, her heart finally calmed down. That's great. Chang'e chuckled lightly, this Tang Wan is the direct descendant of the Endless Tao sect. I remember that woman in Qin Ya, interesting, two top sons of fate competing for a woman. Watching the tigers fight from the mountain, isn't that beautiful? Emi softly asked, Master, how should Tang Tian be dealt with? Chang'e smiled and said, return him to the Tang family. After all, we keep our promises. Then, Gu Chang'e continued, all right, I should go back to deal with the disaster of Jian. Leave the rest to you. As soon as he finished speaking, he flew away, and Emi respectfully said, farewell, Master. Tang Wan remained kneeling, silent, her heart filled with doubt, she also calls him Master. Could it be? After Gu Chang'e left, Tang Wan stood up and asked Emi, what exactly is your relationship with him? Have you also had the slave mark placed on you? Emi shyly replied, what kind of relationship could we have? I am just the master's servant. Her tail gently swayed, then she added, and I don't have the slave mark. Tang Wan was stunned, how is this possible? You are the heavenly woman of the nine-tailed Sky Fox clan. Don't you feel ashamed saying such things? Emi smiled gently and explained, ashamed? The future achievements of my master are beyond your imagination. What's wrong with being his servant? Besides, he takes the time to see me, and I am happy about that. At this moment, Gu Chang'e had returned to the Zhuge ancient kingdom. Seeing the young master return, Ji Qingxian immediately went forward. Young master, you're back. Gu Chang'e responded, yes. Has anything happened in the Zhuge ancient kingdom these past few days? Qingxian reported, no, the Zhuge ancient kingdom is very peaceful, and the talents in the academy have been doing their best to eliminate the soundless disaster. But I heard that something happened in the Wushuan ancient kingdom. Gu Chang'e was surprised, oh, the Xuanwu ancient kingdom? Qingxian explained, I heard that many of the talents' origins were almost devoured. It seems there are disciples of the demonic arts mixed in their ranks. After hearing this, Gu Chang'e immediately sketched out the people Qingxian had mentioned, it's them. Has Qingxia already arrived at the Xuanwu ancient kingdom? It seems they're targeting the Xiang heavenly king, who has a conflict with me. He slightly raised the corner of his mouth, this intention is a bit cute. Coming back to his senses, Chang'e walked leisurely into the main hall and said to Qingxian, Sai, this is really dangerous. I hope the Xiang heavenly king and the people of the Xuanwu ancient kingdom will be safe. Qingxian, seeing Chang'e cares so much, couldn't help but praise, young master is kind-hearted. On Chu Hao's side, he had already completed the soundless disaster and returned home. Upon seeing Chu Hao, his father happily rushed forward and shouted, Hao are you alright? Chu Hao respectfully bowed, Father Emperor. The king, both happy and worried, said, the soundless creatures outside the city gates have been dealt with. Luckily, Hua was here, otherwise, the Zhuke ancient kingdom might have. Chu Hao humbly replied, Father. Emperor, you're being too kind. This was my responsibility, and the crisis has been temporarily resolved. Suddenly, someone reported, Report, Your Majesty, the other entrances were also fiercely dealt with by the talents of the true immortal academy. The king angrily said, they were just trying to earn trial points. Even without them, Hua could have handled this disaster alone. Chu Hao quickly tried to calm him down, Father Emperor. Please calm down. But according to the current progress, the number of soundless creatures eliminated by Gu Changa's team is indeed not as much as mine. I don't know what he's up to. The king, still dissatisfied, said, isn't that so? Not doing things to the best of his ability. Don't even mention Gu Changa. The king then asked, Howard, what about your junior sister Ji? We haven't seen her lately. Chu Hao replied, junior sister Ji said she had important matters and left early. The king suddenly laughed, by the way, Miss Tang Wan is here and is waiting for you in the imperial garden. Upon hearing that Tang Wan had come, Chu Hao was overjoyed and said, Waner. When did she arrive? The king urged Chu Hao, even earlier than you. Go quickly. In the imperial garden, Chu Hao and Tang Wan walked side by side on the bridge. The surroundings were peaceful and romantic. Suddenly, Chu Hao asked, Waner, what brings you here today? Tang Wan looked slightly melancholic and answered, I've not been very busy lately. I suddenly remembered something and wanted to discuss it with you, brother Chu Hao. Chu Hao asked in confusion, Oh. What is it? Tang Wan pondered for a moment, her expression becoming serious as she lowered her gaze. Anyone could feel her subtle sorrow. She suddenly turned to Chu Hao with a flustered expression and said, Waner knows that there are some conflicts between you and Gu Changa, but his methods are ruthless, and his edge is too sharp. Brother Chu Hao, let's endure it if we can. Chu Hao took Tang Wan's hand. He asked in confusion, Waner, why are you suddenly saying this? Have you been wronged? Tang Wan quickly denied, No. How could I be wronged? She rushed into Chu Hao's embrace and urgently said, Brother Chu Hao, you must believe me. You absolutely cannot be enemies with Gu Changa. That way, he won't come after you. I really don't want anything bad to happen. Promise me, okay? Chu Hao's heart sank slightly. A few days ago, Tang Wan urged me to reach the Supreme Realm quickly so I wouldn't be threatened by Gu Changa, but now she's telling me not to provoke him. He just quietly replied, all right, but his heart was full of questions. Why is Waner suddenly bringing up Gu Changa and warning me about his intentions? What happened? At this moment, Tang Wan finally felt at ease and softly said, That's good. The two embraced. This warm embrace might heal Tang Wan's heart. Her worry and fear for Chu Hao also slowly dissipated at this moment. However, under this atmosphere of happiness, on the surface of the lake, two swans were swimming. What was even more terrifying was that a poisonous snake quietly coiled around one of the swans and killed it with its venom. This scene seemed to foreshadow an impending tragedy. In a desolate place, Jiang Chu was sitting alone on a rock, practicing her qi technique. She felt a bit wronged and thought, once again, I'm the one left to find it. Jiang Chu took out a treasure and cast a spell on it to search for Gu Changa's whereabouts. At Yunyi Pavilion, Changgu sat at the dining table ready to enjoy his meal, but suddenly, the image of Jiang Chu using a magical artifact for indirect communication appeared in front of him, accompanied by her angry scolding. Where are you having fun? I was searching for the source of the soundless disaster, and you've been nowhere to be seen the entire time. I'm not your subordinate, you haven't put in any effort. It's unacceptable. Changgu heard the reprimand and only smiled lightly, thinking, she sounds like a little complaining wife. I thought you didn't want to see me. Meanwhile, Jiang Chu fumed, thinking, I'll see how you explain yourself. Changgu responded, thank you for your hard work, Chu Chu. Be sure to stay safe on your own. Jiang Chu Chu immediately felt dejected, he's probably busy with something important. Fine, I'll search alone. On the bustling street, Tang Wan walked quietly alone, with Chu Hao secretly following her. He furrowed his brow and thought, Wana is acting strange today, like she has something she can't say. I need to figure out what's going on. Seeing Tang Wan enter a strange restaurant, Chu Hao was both surprised and curious. Yunyi Lu. Why is Wana here? Tang Wan pushed the door open and entered. Changgu had already been sitting there waiting for her. He asked, you're here. You're much later than the agreed time. I was almost full. Tang Wan stammered, please forgive me, master. Changgu said, it's fine, no need to force it. Changgu filled a glass with wine and leisurely said, sit down, have a drink with me. Meanwhile, in a pavilion across from them, Chu Hao had been sitting for a long time, clearly listening to their conversation. Tang Wan softly responded, yes. Chu Hao furrowed his brows, secretly wondering, Gu Changgu. How could Wana meet him? Merchants are only after profit. Could Wana's family be forcing her to flatter Gu Changgu? At this moment, Chang Ji's voice came from the other side, interrupting his thoughts, don't worry, I've always kept my word. As long as Chu Hao doesn't provoke me, I won't pay attention to him. It's easy to crush him, like stepping on an ant. Tang Wan cautiously replied, really? Is that true? Far off, Chu Hao's face darkened, step on me like an ant. Where does Gu Changgu get his confidence? He sighed deeply, the Chang family has immense power. It seems Wana was also forced by her family to humble herself like this. A son of an immortal. He's just relying on his family's influence to oppress the weak. Over here, Tang Wan hurriedly said, I've already persuaded Chu Hao to let go of the grudges. He holds no ill will toward you. He's broad-minded and won't hold a grudge. Changgu immediately replied, ridiculous. Why would I care about his feelings? Besides, I didn't come to see you for this. Wana nervously asked, then, why did you call me here? Changgu showed a sly smile, I think you're quite charming, and I was wondering whether I should take another concubine to warm my bed. On the other side, Chu Hao was enraged. He gritted his teeth, clenched his fists, and cursed inwardly, how dare you? I'll tear you apart, dismember you, and scatter your bones to the wind. Chu Hao turned and pressed his ear to the door, continuing to eavesdrop. Tang Wan continued, please stop joking. If you truly had feelings for me, you would have acted by now. How could you wait until now? Changgu remained silent for a few seconds, then said, I'm tired of joking. Come over here and massage my shoulders. After hearing this, Tang Wan stood up, walking over while saying, okay, I understand. She thought to herself, how can he be so moody? Changgu had already noticed that Chu Hao had been eavesdropping for quite a while. He couldn't help but think, he's quite composed. Chu Hao was on the verge of losing his temper. Wana is not the kind of girl who would act without restraint. If I rush in now, it would only make her situation worse. Gu Changgu, that bastard. I will remember today's humiliation. One day, I will make you regret it. After saying this, he left. Changgu also felt that Chu Hao had left, and he looked up. Seeing that there was nothing left to anger him, Changgu spoke, all right, you can go back. It's getting late, and it will be dark soon. Tang Wan was stunned by his sudden action. Changgu looked towards the opposite pavilion, showing a meaningful smile and thinking to himself, you really can endure blending in with the chives. In that case, I'll try a different flavor. The Purple Sun Heavenly Lord has been hopping around long enough. Meanwhile, in the Xuanwu ancient kingdom, King Lu Guan hovered in midair and said to Ying Chang, is Gu Changgu the heir of the devil arts? Where is the evidence? How can I trust you just because you say so? Ying Chang hesitated and answered from below, I have no evidence, but he is definitely involved, I am sure of it. Trust me, let's expose him together. King Lu Guan sneered, everyone outside is talking about your identity. Don't you know that? Ing Chang quickly explained, I really am not. The Purple Sun Heavenly Lord has already chased the heir of the devil arts out of the city. How could it be me? King Lu Guan slowly descended and continued Ing Chang's words, then why is Gu Changgu leading a team far in the Zhuke Ancient Kingdom? If he's the heir of the devil arts, how could he come here and fight the Purple Sun? Ing Chang stood there, still defending, I don't know how he did it, but that guy has many tricks. He can disguise and act. King Lu Guan raised his hand and pressed it against Ing Chang's chest. Ing Chang froze, his face changing drastically, what? What do you want to do? King Lu Guan coldly said, what? Exactly are you? There are many identities that don't concern me, but you're too weak now, you're not qualified to talk to me. Go back and train well, when you grow strong enough to stir my fighting spirit, come talk to me. King Lu Guan's palm flashed with light. With a scream, Ing Chang was blasted out of the city gates by King Lu Guan's palm. He was furious and unwilling, thinking to himself, his methods are terrifying. This King Lu Guan is a monster. He muttered in confusion, this is. Walking down the street, Ing Chang thought to himself, the heir of the devil arts is wreaking havoc in the Xuanwu kingdom. It must be Gu Changgu. The Purple Sun Heavenly Lord is now targeted by Gu Changgu, facing a life-or-death situation. I can't rely on him anymore. And King Lu Guan's power is immense. If I can find a way to convince him to team up, even Gu Changgu is not without a chance of victory. Suddenly, he stopped in his tracks, as if realizing something. Ing Chang immediately turned around and thought to himself, is that me? To meet here, it must be fate. Although the situation is like this now, could the young servant who once fed the horse not be treated equally with her? Moreover, Miss Mi was saved by Gu Changgu. She probably doesn't know his true identity. I must remind her. Once we expose that hypocritical scoundrel, I can. At this moment in the Qinglong Ancient Kingdom, Gu Xiener was cultivating in her room. She opened an ancient book and began to study, the diamond body. If I succeed in cultivating this, will I become a glowing female warrior? She imagined herself as a muscular female warrior, and then helplessly clicked her tongue. Suddenly, a tremor shook the ground, and Gu Xiener quickly jumped up in panic, what's going on? Who are they fighting outside? Without hesitation, she rushed out immediately. In the sky, a man in black hovered, and Gu Xiener shouted loudly, Qing Feng, Qing Xiao Yi. She angrily ordered, who are you? Let her go. Upon hearing this, the man in black remained motionless. Gu Xian and I spoke again, didn't you hear me? She then began to perform her technique. She then shouted, I said let her go. As soon as the words left her mouth, she struck towards him. He let out a sinister laugh and coldly snorted, humph. He immediately countered the attack. Gu Xian and I stood below, thinking to herself, strange, this move is clearly powerful, but it didn't harm me. She helplessly watched him disappear into the air, damn it. If I had been more alert and used more of my ultimate techniques, I might have been able to stop him. Tian Huan woman shouted from behind, Xian and I'm late. What happened here? Gu Xian and I hurriedly responded, an enemy attacked, Qing Xiao Yi was captured. Qing Feng, he. She ran over, knelt beside Qing Feng, and called out repeatedly, Qing Feng. Qing Feng. How are you? Tian Huan woman approached and comforted her, calm down, he can still be saved. Gu Xian and I looked at the small bottle on Qing Feng's chest, the bottle's mouth emitting a wisp of blue smoke, and wondered, did this strange bottle block the fatal blow for him? Tian Huan woman said, we need to inform the academy quickly. Qing Xiao Yi is a treasure of the elders. How could someone dare to capture her? Gu Xian and I asked, is it because of the immortal devil body? Tian Huan woman answered in confusion, perhaps. Gu Xian and I took out a wooden tablet and said, it's my oversight. I'll tell Gu Changgu and see if he has a solution. He solemnly promised the elders that he would take care of the siblings, but now that something had happened, it was likely the work of his enemies. At this time, Qing Feng, still dazed, called out, "Xiao Yi." Gu Xian and I chanted a spell and finally got in contact with Changgu, who asked, "What is it?" She responded joyfully, "Gu Changgu." She immediately told him in one breath, "It's bad." Qing Feng was attacked, his life or death unknown, and Qing Xiao Yi was captured. Changgu immediately scolded, "How could you be so useless? You couldn't even protect two people." Gu Xian and I yelled, "Shut up. You have no idea how powerful that thief is, his methods are ruthless, he looks disgusting, and his strength is at least above the great saint realm." Changgu answered indifferently, "You really are a troublemaker, always causing me problems. Wait for me, I'll be there soon." Behind him, Qing Xiao Yi was lying motionless. Changgu thought helplessly, "This dead girl, she didn't even notice me and said how disgusting he looked." Over here, Qing Feng had just woken up from his nightmare, still shouting, "Let go of my sister." He then gasped urgently. Gu Xian and I and the two elders were already present. Elder Lei spoke, "That's right, kid, you're awake." Qing Feng nervously asked, "Master, my sister, she." He immediately rushed forward, knelt in front of the two elders, and begged, "Master, please save Xiao Yi." Elder Lei comforted him, "I know, Qing Feng, don't worry, tell us exactly what happened." Qing Feng began, "That night, my sister and I were practicing in the courtyard when suddenly, a man in a black robe barged in. He knew my sister had the immortal devil body. I tried to protect her, but I was no match for him. With one casual palm strike." Elder Lei said, "So it was targeting the immortal devil body." The elder of the True Immortal Academy added, "Could it be related to the demon technique inheritor?" Elder Lei took out a bottle, handed it to Qing Feng, and asked, "The Chang Tian bottle is yours, right? I didn't expect you to have such a treasure, otherwise your soul would have been destroyed long ago." Qing Feng hesitated and replied, "Master, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hide it, I just—" Elder Lei immediately interrupted, "It's fine, you probably didn't know. The Chang Tian Qi can protect the body, absorbing the opponent's moves and techniques. Now, describe the person who attacked Xiao Yi and released the aura of that man in black." Qing Feng immediately responded loudly and firmly, "Okay, I'll go right now." Then, Qing Feng began to perform his technique, and a purple smoke started to spread. Elder Lei sighed, "Overbearing, powerful, the force of the laws is too strong. This aura feels familiar." The elder from the True Immortal Academy said in disbelief, How is this possible, is it him again?" Elder Lei confirmed, "But this aura cannot be fake." Qing Feng anxiously asked, "Master, who exactly took Xiao Yi?" The fairy emperor guessed, "This is the primordial purple qi." Gu Xiener shouted angrily, "Purple immortal lord. I knew that guy wasn't a good person." The fairy emperor asked in confusion, "But why did he take Xiao Yi? Could he really have joined forces with the demon art heir?" Qing Feng bowed his head and pleaded, "Master, please, you have to save Xiao Yi." The elder from the True Immortal Academy raised his hand, signaling, "Kid, stand up. This matter might not be as simple as you think. After all, the Lord of Purple Sun is from the Purple Mansion. This needs further discussion." At this moment, Qing Feng seemed to fall into despair. He cried helplessly, "Purple Mansion, could Xiao Yi just—" Suddenly, he raised his head and looked at Gu Xiener with hope in his eyes, saying, "That's right, Senior Sister Xiener. I beg you. Please save my sister." Faced with his plea, Gu Xiener didn't know how to respond, only saying, "I will try my best to help you, but—" Before she could finish, Qing Feng hurriedly interrupted, "Young Master Chang'e. I know young Master Chang'e dotes on Senior Sister greatly. As long as Senior Sister speaks, he will definitely help. His strength is immense, and as a descendant of the Gu family, even the Purple Mansion." Upon hearing this, Gu Xiener quickly denied, where did that come from? When did that guy ever dote on me? Qing Feng continued. Previously, when the Lord of Purple Sun tried to harass senior sister, young Master Chang'e beat him so badly. Gu Xiener immediately shouted, "Stop, don't say any more. And don't ever say things like that again." As soon as the words left her mouth, Chang'e appeared silently behind her, asking calmly, "Don't say what?" Gu Xiener was startled and stammered, "You. How did you arrive so quickly?" Both elders shouted in unison, "Young Master Chang'e." The fairy emperor stood aside, thinking, he came so quickly, it seems he really cares about this sister. The matter of the bone peeling for sister may not be false after all. Qing Feng saw him and excitedly called out, "Young Master Chang'e." Before he could speak, Chang'e interrupted, "I've already heard from her. As the senior sister and the leader, she is to blame for not being careful, and as her brother, I too cannot avoid responsibility." He placed a hand on Gu Xiener's head, causing her to think, "Why does it feel like dealing with a child?" Elder Lei asked, "Did you hear what just happened, young friend?" Chang'e nodded, I just heard a bit." "Elders, I know you're troubled by the power of the Purple Mansion. You can leave this matter to me. I will definitely uncover the truth." Elder Lei sighed in relief, "Young Master Chang'e is truly insightful. I feel embarrassed as an elder." Chang'e replied politely, "Elder is too kind, you represent the academy. And the academy is attached to the Purple Mansion, it's difficult to please both sides." At this moment, Qing Feng hurriedly pleaded, "Young Master Chang'e, if you can save Xiao Yi, Qing Feng has no way to repay you, but this Chang Tian bottle can serve as repayment." Upon hearing this, Chang'e immediately became angry. "What are you doing? Do you take me for someone like that? Do you think I'm acting for your bottle? Keep it, it's more useful to you." Qing Feng lowered his head and quickly explained. "Young master, don't misunderstand. This matter came so suddenly, how could I, a weak cultivator, protect it? This Chang Tian bottle is no longer my protective item, but might instead become a deathbringer. I hope young Master Chang'e will accept it. Previously, at the mountain gate, you helped us, and we haven't repaid you. Xiao Yi has always mentioned your kindness. Please, save her." Chang'e sighed lightly, took the bottle, and said to Qing Feng, "Truly. In that case, I will temporarily keep it safe. When your strength increases, you can take it back." Gu Xiener stood aside, secretly thinking, as expected of him, taking advantage and still acting modest. Chang'e continued, "You and I are quite alike, both having a troublesome younger sister." Upon hearing this, Gu Xiener's expression darkened, her face full of confusion. When Gu Xiener was dejectedly leaning on the table, Gu Chang'e was still giving instructions to his subordinates. "Spread the news of the Lord of Purple Sun capturing Xiao Yi." The subordinate respectfully replied, "Yes, Master." As soon as the subordinate left, Gu Chang'e retracted his previous indifference and gently looked at his younger sister sitting in the back. Gu Chang'e approached, picked up the tea cup from her hand, and said softly, "You've caused me trouble again." Hearing his reproach, Gu Xiener, who had been half dreaming, immediately opened her eyes. Seeing Gu Chang'e leisurely sipping his tea, she immediately shouted angrily, "Put that cup down. I just drank from it." However, Gu Chang'e paid no attention, finishing the tea and even teasing, "No wonder, it tastes so bad. Are you angry?" "Seeing that you are obviously trying to make me angry," Gu Xiener immediately kicked him and shouted loudly, "What the hell, do I look like I'm angry?" Gu Chang'e quickly retreated, throwing the teacup back onto the stone table. He looked at her and continued, still denying it. "You're so fiery." Seeing Gu Xiener angry, he happily left, turning around before leaving to say, "I'm leaving, got things to do. Don't miss me too much." At this time, Gu Xiener was angrily standing in the middle of the yard, shouting at his back, "Go away. Who would miss you? Hope I never see you again." The scene shifted to the Black Turtle Ancient Kingdom, where a subordinate was kneeling beside, attentively listening to King Lu Guan's words. the Xiang Celestial Lord reported finding the traces of the magic successor, tracked for several days, but today the demonic body was taken away by a mysterious person in the distant Qinglong ancient kingdom. He also used the primordial purple aura, leaving behind traces that Ying Xiang came to seek refuge with me earlier, but now it seems more like he deliberately sought someone to prove he wasn't here. After saying that, he laughed heartily, very pleased. Interesting, so they are in cahoots. The cicada shed technique is so skillfully used, it's a pity the world is so foolish. If I had a third of their intelligence, I wouldn't have been so easily deceived. Suddenly, King Lu Guan's expression grew serious, continuing, but can Gu Chang'e truly see through everything? If even he is deceived, then he is not worthy to be my opponent. Hearing this, the subordinate immediately cupped his hands and responded, I see, as expected of Lord Lu Guan. Meanwhile, in the White Tiger ancient kingdom, a brutal battle was raging, and from a distance, Yu Mingkong rushed over to provide support. Her attack struck directly at the monster. Hit by the sudden attack, the monster was completely powerless to resist and could only endure her mighty assault. Continuous massive explosions echoed through the sky, shaking the entire area, and eventually, the monster was defeated in agony. The people around witnessed the scene and cheered, it's Princess Yu Mingkong. Princess Yu Mingkong is mighty. Although the monster had been defeated, Prince Qin refused to let it go and chased after it with a large hammer, shouting as he ran. Stop! Where are you running, monster? Take this hammer. Even Yu Mingkong, seeing this, could only stand there speechlessly. After a while, once everything was settled, the two casually exchanged a few words. Prince Qin lazily stretched and said, we've almost cleared all the sound-absorbing creatures at the border. We're really impressive. Upon hearing this, Yu Mingkong lazily glanced at him, are all the people from the Saintis Academy this lazy? Prince Qin immediately responded, don't say that, Princess Yu Mingkong. I've tried my best. But it seems there's unrest lately. I heard that the immortal demon body from Qinglong ancient kingdom was captured, and even Brother Gu has abandoned Zhuke ancient kingdom to go there, since Sister Xiener is their leader, she must take responsibility. Hearing Prince Qin's words, Yu Mingkong fell into thought, Xiener has been used as a pawn again. Prince Qin continued, I heard this incident is related to Xiang Celestial Lord. Do you think he's colluding with Ying Xiang to cause trouble? After all, Ying Xiang is the successor of the demonic power. At this point, Prince Qin purposely looked at Yu Mingkong, and she immediately turned her head to avoid his gaze, secretly thinking, yes, you're right. Seeing Yu Mingkong in this awkward state, Prince Qin became even more delighted and continued, at that time, because of that guy, Brother Gu owes me a huge favor. Hearing this, Yu Mingkong sighed, don't worry, he has no favor left to repay. As soon as Yu Mingkong finished speaking, Prince Qin was stunned and exclaimed, impossible, this shameless. Meanwhile, somewhere, Gu Chang'e suddenly sneezed repeatedly. Back to the Black Turtle ancient kingdom, Gu Chang'e was using his invisibility technique to blend into the bustling crowd in the city, thinking to himself, Mi is already in position. It's time to close the net. In front of the inn, people were coming and going, corn cake, 1 for a coin. Joe, I want corn cake. No way, after this trial, I'll practice dual cultivation with you. Ah Chan, Sai, lost his wife and daughter. Inside the inn, Mi, with a serious expression, said, you've been following me for days, what's your purpose? Ying Xiang immediately answered in a panic, I just have long admired the name of the nine-tailed clans. Celestial Maiden, and I admire you, so no, don't be scared, I'm a good person. Seeing him in this state, Mi couldn't help but laugh, such a clumsy excuse, this is definitely not why you've been following me. After saying that, she looked him up and down, strange, why do I feel like there's something familiar about you? Ying Xiang broke into a cold sweat and thought, familiar? Does she still remember I once? He looked at her excitedly, Mi, it turns out she At this point, Yin-mi, calmly resting her chin on her hand, said to him, maybe your clumsy performance makes you seem very honest. Anyway, what exactly do you want from me? Looking at her, Ing Xiang's heart surged with excitement. Not only did she not pursue my impolite actions, but she also spoke so gently to me. So no matter what happens, I will protect her, Mir. In the end, he made up his mind to explain things clearly to her. Yin-mi, actually, there's something I want to tell you. Yin-mi asked in surprise, what is it? He looked firmly into her eyes and said, I know you might find it hard to accept. But you have to believe that I will never harm you. Out of concern for your safety, I want to tell you a secret. It's about the identity of the heir to the demonic arts. Yin-mi immediately replied, I know, it's the Divine Emperor's son, Ing Xiang. Hearing this, Ing Xiang spat out the tea he had just sipped. He tried to explain to her, actually, Ing Xiang has been wronged. The real heir to the demonic arts is someone else. Yin-mi asked, then who is the real heir? Ing Xiang shouted loudly, Gu Chang'e. That pretentious, cunning, and treacherous guy. Stay away from him, he's very dangerous. As soon as Ing Xiang finished speaking, Yin-mi just softly said, which left him shocked. Why? Yin-mi, aren't you surprised? Don't you believe me? At this moment, her eyes lit up as she mischievously looked at him and said, because I've always known. It was unknown when, but Gu Chang'e had already appeared behind Ing Xiang, coldly speaking, you have no evidence, how can you slander my innocence without basis? At the same time, a message panel reading, 5100, appeared above Ing Xiang's head. Under Ing Xiang's terrified gaze, Gu Chang'e coldly continued, Divine Emperor's son Ing Xiang, or should I call you a stable boy? Ing Xiang was trembling all over, looking behind him in fear, you. He immediately turned around and attacked Gu Chang'e, shouting angrily, how did you know this secret? However, Gu Chang'e's body instantly turned into a shadow and flew toward Yin-mi. He looked at Ing Xiang smugly, that's right, I know everything. Your identity, background, meaning, and purpose, I am fully aware. And your current situation is all arranged by me. Ing Xiang clenched his fists in anger, it's really you, Gu Chang'e. Gu Chang'e sneered as he looked at him, letting you carry this false reputation for so long, I actually feel quite guilty. So today, I'm here to help you get rid of it. Ing Xiang roared as he charged at him, I'm going to fight you. He then gathered his power and launched a fierce attack at Gu Chang'e. Suddenly, Yin-mi stepped forward and stood in front of Gu Chang'e. Both of them looked at Ing Xiang proudly, we've been waiting for you to make a move. Facing her sudden action, Ing Xiang was shocked and thought, Yin-mi, what's going on? Then, a loud bang rang out, and Yin-mi was sent flying. The scene immediately attracted everyone's attention. What happened? The people around began to stir. That's Yin-mi, the celestial lady of the nine-tailed clan. What's going on? At this moment, Yin-mi lay on the ground, coughing violently, weakly pleading for help. She looked at Ing Xiang in panic and shouted loudly, the heir to the demonic arts, Ing Xiang, is right here. Hurry up. The people around also looked shocked at the inn. What? The heir to the demonic arts is actually in the Black Tortoise Kingdom? Is it him? He is the heir. Ing Xiang was completely stunned, stammering, no, it's not like that. I clearly held back. Yin-mi, why? In the distance, a group of people flew over, shouting angrily, you traitor. Even if you grow wings today, you won't escape. I'll wash away the shame for the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Ing Xiang looked at them in surprise, Divine Emperor's son. How are you here? The Divine Emperor's son looked at Ing Xiang with a proud face, are you surprised? I've long heard that a genius was harmed in the Black Tortoise Kingdom, so I secretly infiltrated. Although I don't know how you colluded with Xiang, that little trick won't fool me. Jin Chan, who was beside him, also spoke. Amitba, the killing sin on your hands is too heavy. Put down your weapon and surrender. At this moment, Ing Xiang wished he could expose Gu Chang'e's true face right away, damn, Gu Chang'e is nowhere to be seen, explaining is useless, I can only escape for now. Ing Xiang quickly soared into the air, and the Divine Emperor's son immediately pursued him, traitor. Do you think you can escape? At the same time, Jin Chan quickly walked toward Yin Mi, asking with concern, Miss, are you alright? Yin Mi weakly replied, luckily. I reacted fast, otherwise, he would have struck a fatal blow. At this moment, a voice from the Divine Emperor's son came from the sky, Jin Chan, you are a monk, stop asking a woman about her well-being. Quickly follow me to chase this villain. Upon hearing this, Jin Chan immediately spoke, Amitabha, don't speak nonsense, benefactor. He then quickly caught up with the Divine Emperor's son, and the surrounding people began discussing, strange, he actually dares to make a move in the city. Indeed, the heir of the demon art is always cunning, how could he act so openly? At this moment, Ing Yu stood where she was, looking at Ing Chang's back, with a worried expression, silently thinking. Brother. While Yin Mi, hearing the discussions around her, also sighed, it seems not everyone is foolish. However, a sly smile gradually appeared at the corner of her mouth. At this time, Gu Chang'e walked over from behind, looking surprised, what happened here? The heir of the demon art has appeared. Upon hearing his voice, Ing Yu was a little surprised, young master. Gu. The people in the city also called out, young master Chang'e. Young master Chang'e is here. Yin Mi, looking at him, lightly coughed, brother Chang'e. Seeing her expression, Ing Yu was a little surprised, weren't you fine just a moment ago? Gu Chang'e quickly walked to Yin Mi's side, asking with concern, junior sister Yin Mi, how did you get injured? Yin Mi weakly covered her wound and replied, I was injured by the heir of the demon art just now, thank you for your concern, senior brother, I'm fine, I'll recover in a few days. The two of them cooperated perfectly in acting, while Ing Yu still stared at them in a daze. At this moment, a man standing aside spoke, young master Chang'e, that guy has already escaped the city after getting injured. Upon hearing this, Gu Chang'e's face darkened, and he angrily scolded, cunning tactics, indeed, he is still in the Xuanwu kingdom. After speaking, he immediately comforted Yin Mi, junior sister Yin Mi, don't worry, I will get justice for you. Upon hearing these words, she couldn't help but admire his acting skills but still cooperated, thank you, senior brother. Chang'e stepped forward and firmly said aloud, everyone, please rest assured, I came all the way here to capture this villain. I will bring him to justice. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone around shouted. In unison, great. Young Master Chang'e, you must catch the heir of the demon art. Gu Chang'e continued, indeed. Today the three targets are all gathered here, the heir of the demon art has no way to escape. At this time, the Divine Emperor's son and Jin Chan were still desperately chasing Ing Chang, with the Divine Emperor's son angrily shouting, Ing Chang, stop right there. Jin Chan also spoke, Amitabha, don't struggle in vain, benefactor. The three of them chased and fled, eventually breaking through the Xuanwu ancient kingdom. While desperately fleeing, Ing Chang angrily explained, how many times do I have to say it, I am not the heir of the demon art, when will you believe me? How did you end up being so foolish? The Divine Emperor's son angrily shouted, enough. Traitor, don't make me arrest you. Seeing that he couldn't convince the Divine Emperor's son, Ing Chang thought of a countermeasure, I must quickly find a safe place to hide, Gu Chang'e is definitely still nearby, I must not get entangled any longer. Gu Chang'e suddenly appeared out of nowhere, blocking Ing Chang's way, and shouted coldly, Ing Chang, you can't escape. Ing Chang, seeing him appear, exclaimed in surprise, Gu Chang'e. Before he could react, he was struck back by Chang'e with a palm. At this moment, Ing Chang, who was completely unprepared, felt a demonic energy quietly enter his body. At this time, Ing Chang was completely surrounded, and he looked at Chang'e with anger, you despicable man, how dare you call yourself the number one of the younger generation? Pa! The Divine Emperor's son looked at Chang'e in confusion, how did Gu Chang'e arrive so quickly? Jin Chan also advised, benefactor, do not persist in your delusion. Meanwhile, Gu Chang'e continued to play his part, brother Ing, there's no need to argue anymore. At this moment, Ing Chang's eyes were full of anger and disappointment. He gritted his teeth and angrily shouted. At the Divine Emperor's son and Jin Chan, you idiots, being played around by him, honest people are being driven to death. After speaking, he shouted angrily, fine, since that's the case, I'll fight you to the end. As soon as he finished speaking, Ing Chang immediately summoned a supreme artifact and shouted angrily, soul-taming ancient spirit. A giant bell appeared, its power vast, and it covered the entire sky. Upon seeing this, Jin Chan exclaimed, it's a supreme artifact. The Divine Emperor's son threatened, do you think that with just one supreme artifact, you can stop me? The three of them used all their strength to resist the pressure of the soul-taming ancient spirit, while Ing Chang seized the opportunity to escape. The Divine Emperor's son looked at his back and immediately shouted angrily, this coward, using a trick. And running away again. At this moment, Gu Chang'e reminded them, both of you, leave this thing to me, quickly go after him. As soon as he finished speaking, he turned and walked in the opposite direction, a sinister smile slowly appearing on his face, secretly pleased, yes, run in that direction. Jin Chan didn't doubt him at all and sincerely thanked Gu Chang'e, then I'll trouble young Master Chang'e. Meanwhile, the Divine Emperor's son secretly rejoiced, thinking he would soon achieve great merit, and contemptuously looked at Chang'e, thinking to himself, fool. Once I catch Ing Chang, the name of the emperor will be mine. Gu Chang'e still pretended to be concerned, both of you, hurry and chase, don't let him escape. The two quickly pursued Ing Chang. The Divine Emperor's son looked at Jin Chan and suggested, this traitor has entered a place where the desolate disaster is about to occur, ahead there's a lot of desolate energy. How about we split up and chase him? Jin Chan agreed, alright, then the Divine Emperor's son should be extra careful. The Divine Prince is very pleased with his plan at this moment, secretly rejoicing, Ing Xiang carries the aura of the Heavenly Emperor. Mountain's techniques. At this distance, it will be difficult for him to escape my pursuit. This merit will only belong to me. After a moment, the cultivators behind also caught up to the place where Gu Chang'e was, that's young Master Chang'e. Another cultivator saw the situation and quickly shouted, it's the soul-subduing ancient spirit of Heavenly Emperor Mountain, young Master Chang'e has also summoned his supreme artifact to fight back. Seeing this, one cultivator immediately asked, young Master Chang'e, what about the inheritor of the demonic art? Chang'e answered with difficulty, everyone, the inheritor of the demonic art has already fled deep into the forbidden land. I am about to assist the Divine Prince and Jin Chanzi, there is no need for you to take risks. Upon hearing this, the surrounding cultivators spoke in unison, young Master Chang'e, you must capture him. At the same time, Ruanmi and the others also arrived at the scene. Ruanmi asked, Senior Brother Chang'e, where are they? A cultivator immediately pointed ahead and said, young Master Chang'e just left, they have already gone deep into the forbidden land to chase after the inheritor of the demonic art. Upon hearing about Chang'e, Ruanmi was immediately shocked and exclaimed, this is bad. They must have fallen into a trap. Seeing Ruanmi so anxious, everyone around couldn't help but feel surprised. Ing Yu was also somewhat puzzled and asked, what? What do you mean, Lady Ruanmi? At this moment, Ruanmi's face was filled with terror, and she hesitated. As she explained, the inheritor of the demonic art has been hiding for so long, why would they suddenly appear to attack me? Now that I think about it, perhaps their target was never me, but young Master Chang'e, they. Before Ruanmi finished speaking, Ing Yu exclaimed, you mean, he deliberately appeared to lure the talents on the list into the forbidden land? Another cultivator was equally shocked, what? Nearby cultivators also stammered, this. Seeing everyone's reaction, Ruanmi said dejectedly, I can't rule out that possibility. At this time, one person beside her angrily said, that's right, don't forget there is still an inheritor of the demonic art organization behind him. They must have already set up an ambush deep within the forbidden land. Ruanmi looked up at the two supreme artifacts still battling, her face full of worry as she said, right now, senior brother. Changa's supreme artifact is still outside, it's probably filled with dangers inside. Upon hearing her words, the other cultivators also began to feel fearful. God, the inheritor of the demonic art must want to eliminate all the talents in one go. Seeing that everyone was gradually believing her words, Ruanmi continued to pretend to be heartbroken, tears in her eyes as she self-blamed, it's all my fault. She rushed forward in great pain, no, I must go find senior brother Changa. Last time, he was injured even in his original state to save me. Ingyu was startled by Ruanmi's impulsive behavior and quickly stopped her. Lady Ruanmi, you can't go. The strength under the list will only cause chaos if they enter now. Ingyu and the person beside quickly grabbed her hands and persuaded her, Miss, the Heavenly Empress is right. At this moment, Ruanmi's tears slid down her cheeks, her face full of pain as she said, but, what should we do now? If something happens to senior brother Changa, I will follow him. Ingyu looked at her worriedly and said, young Master Changa and the others are not the type to be easily defeated, they will definitely overcome the danger. At this moment, deep within the forbidden land, violent attacks erupted continuously. Xiang's sword was knocked away and harshly impaled into the ground. He was then covered in wounds, forcibly knocked down, and crashed to the ground. The Divine Prince's face was full of killing intent as he coldly stared at Xiang, sneering, aren't you the inheritor of the demonic art? How come you only have this much ability? Quickly use the demonic art and show me. Looking at the Divine Prince's arrogant posture, Xiang angrily roared, you idiot. I've told you countless times, I am not. The Divine Prince slowly walked towards Xiang, speaking coldly as he approached, that day, you tried to harm you, the world knows. How dare you still deny it, you traitor? Xiang stepped back in fear, I didn't. She is my sister, how could I really want to harm her? Upon hearing Xiang's words, the Divine Prince immediately questioned, then how do you explain hiding and evading after severely injuring Gu Changa, for so long? Xiang desperately tried to explain, attempting to reverse the situation, those things were all part of Gu Changa's act, that's why he is the real inheritor of the demonic art. He is the mastermind, everything was his design. The Divine Prince still looked doubtful, continuing to approach, sneering, oh. Where's the evidence? Looking at the murderous aura on the Divine Prince's spear, Xiang cried out in fear, although I don't have evidence, every time something happens, Gu Changa is there. Don't you find that strange? He's a hypocrite. You've all been deceived by him. As soon as Xiang finished speaking, the Divine Prince couldn't help but show some hesitation. Suddenly, a familiar voice came from afar, catching both their attention, finally found you. Gu Changa slowly walked towards the Divine Prince, his expression calm as he said, has the Divine Prince not made a move yet? Upon hearing this, the Divine Prince immediately replied, Gu Changa. How did you find this place? Looking at Gu Changa, he secretly thought to himself, could it be that Xiang was telling the truth? Gu Changa still calmly answered, it was just good luck. Upon seeing Gu Changa's appearance, Xiang immediately shouted, Gu Changa, what exactly do you want to do? We have no grievances or enmity, do you really have to force me into a desperate situation? Chang just finished speaking and sneered, replying, Brother have you forgotten your identity? The heirs of the demonic arts and righteous cultivators like me are inherently opposed. With that, he glared sharply at Chang, if I were to destroy you, wouldn't the world be peaceful? Suddenly, a strong demonic aura erupted from Chang's body, even he himself was shocked and shouted, what? What is this? Meanwhile, the Divine Prince looked at him in shock and said, demonic aura, so you have been deceiving me. Behind them, Gu Changa wore a satisfied expression and calmly said, Brother at this point, any further denial is useless. Yin Chang, still panicking, explained, no, it's not mine. What did you do? At this moment, the Divine Prince could no longer listen to any of Yin Chang's words. He turned to Gu Changa and quietly said, Gu Changa, step back. His life, I will take myself. Hearing this, Gu Changa merely glanced at him indifferently, said nothing, and then smiled hypocritically, then please, Divine Prince, proceed. Yin Chang looked at the two in fear and stammered, you. Meanwhile, the Divine Prince was steadily advancing towards him, saying, Yin Chang, at this point, don't blame me for being heartless. Suddenly, the Divine Prince was attacked from behind. He looked down in astonishment. At this moment, the Divine Prince, with a pained expression, looked at the hand that pierced through his chest and weakly said, Gu Changa, you. He glared at Gu Changa, gritting his teeth, and asked angrily, what are you doing? Gu Changa gave a sinister smile and slowly said, he's right. Never turn your back on the heirs of the demonic arts. Gu Changa kicked the Divine Prince to the ground. The Divine Prince's halberd fell from his hand, and Gu Changa sneered, if Jin Chan Zi isn't here, then it'll be easier. Solving all three at once might cause some accidents. Yin Chang anxiously said, I've told you, you didn't believe me. He said to Yin Chang, now, if we team up, we might have a chance. Quickly. Do you have any life-saving treasures? Take them out. The injured Divine Prince clutched his chest and glared at Gu Changa, bastard. You think you can kill me with a sneak attack? The Divine Prince seemed to be summoning some strange item. He used magic to summon the Divine Emperor lamp, and a red light instantly enveloped the entire lamp. Yin Chang, from behind, exclaimed in joy, supreme artifact. Wonderful. Gu Changa was greatly surprised. He took out his own magic bottle and said to the two, Tianhuang Mountain really is incredibly wealthy, everyone has a supreme artifact. He said, since that's the case, I'll gladly accept it. With that, he used the magic bottle to absorb the Divine Prince's Divine Emperor lamp. The two were stunned beyond belief. The Divine Prince was furious, gritting his teeth and saying, that's mine, give it back to me. He tightened his grip on the halberd, ready to charge at Gu Changa. Gu Changa also gripped his halberd tightly and coldly said, your weapon isn't meant to be used like this. Gu Changa jumped up, charging directly at the Divine Prince. He swung fiercely at the halberd in the Divine Prince's hand. The earth cracked, and countless ghostly spirits surged from the fissures. Under Gu Changa's strike, the Divine Prince was unable to withstand it. The Divine Prince and Yin Chang were both horrified. The Divine Prince looked at Gu Changa and bitterly smiled, I never thought I'd be defeated by you. You've hidden so deep. What Tianhuang Mountain, what Divine Prince? If I were just a servant feeding the horses, maybe I wouldn't have died. Gu Changa said, one of you is overestimating yourselves, and the other is daydreaming. Living is just a waste of spiritual energy. System notification, congratulations, host, for killing the Son of Fortune. You have gained 30,000 destiny points and triggered the Fortune Qingling drop. The rule drop is the Zhen Tao Baoyang. After defeating the God Emperor's son, the fortune item was granted to you. You said, this reward perfectly matches the opportunity of this errand boy. Gu Changa picked up the sword on the ground and said, this sword still carries Yin Xiang's aura. He asked himself, where should I throw this away? Jin Chan suddenly appeared. He hovered in the air and thought, I haven't seen anyone here. The heir of the demonic art must have already gone to the God Emperor's son. Although this silence aura can block most of the energy fluctuations, the occasional wave makes it hard to stay calm. Jin Chan flew toward the thunderstorm area and said, from this faint sensation, Gu Changa must have already entered, and is fighting. Amitba, I hope everyone is safe. Jin Chan arrived at the scene, seeing Gu Changa coughing on the ground while Yin Xiang had ascended as a ghost. He said, Gu Changa, you've been chasing me for so long, did you ever think this day would come? Jin Chan exclaimed, what is this? The God Emperor's son's aura had vanished, his origin damaged, and Gu Changa was in such a sorry state. Gu Changa covered his chest in pain and said, the righteous and the demonic cannot coexist. Even if I die today, I will capture you. Ing Xiang said, a dying struggle, still speaking so arrogantly. Just follow the God Emperor's son. He then lunged toward Gu Changa. Jin Chan suddenly rushed out to protect Gu Changa and said, heir of the demonic art, stop being reckless. Ing Xiang angrily cursed, where did this bald donkey come from, ruining my plans? Jin Chan turned and asked, young Master Changa, are you alright? Gu Changa replied, brother Jin Chan, you came just in time, what a righteous rescue. Unfortunately, the God Emperor's son has already fallen. If you two hadn't split up, how would this situation have happened? Jin Chan responded, benefactor. Why do you say that? The monk does not understand. Please rest, I will protect you. Ing Xiang flew into the air and said, you bald donkey who doesn't know how to live, since you've come, let's die together. Jin Chan responded, you look strong, but you've been worn down by Changa. This little attack won't hurt me. As soon as he finished speaking, Jin Chan unleashed the Tathagata golden body and charged forward. He continuously launched powerful attacks, and Ing Xiang sneered, hee, I didn't expect this bald donkey to have some skill. Jin Chan replied, Amitba, I must take you seriously in front of you. The two were in a fierce battle, and Ing Xiang asked, but do you really think you can stop me? At this moment, Gu Changa suddenly rushed forward and shouted, want to leave? Not that easy. Gu Changa charged forward, and Ing Xiang said, I must take your life today and avenge brother God Emperor. Ing Xiang roared, burning my essence blood. Are you crazy? Standing behind, Jin Chan said, Changa, why? Gu Changa turned and said, I just despise those who abandon their comrades. Jin Chan sighed, showing a disappointed look, and said, Changa, you misunderstood me. Below the mountain, everyone was watching their battle. The sky was full of thunder, and someone said, look, the silence aura has been dispersed a bit. We can sense a little inside now. I can see young Master Changa and Jin Chan. Someone wondered, why isn't the God Emperor's son here? Yin Yu said to Lu Guanwang, the inheritor of the demonic arts is deep in the absolute Yin land. Please lend a hand to help young Master Changa and the others. The mage behind him said, yes, if Lu Guanwang goes, the victory is assured. Yin Mi then said, but the inheritor of the demonic arts is unpredictable and cruel. He must have had a plan from the start. I'm afraid young Master Changa and the others will fall into his trap. After hearing them, Lu Guanwang responded, you don't need to worry too much. I've already investigated Yin Chang. The three on the list are enough to catch him. If they fail, it only means their cultivation is lacking. With their strength, I don't think the inheritor of the demonic arts can escape unless. After hearing this, Yin Mi asked, unless what? Yin Yu said, the battle is already over. Lu Guanwang responded, unless there are internal differences among them. Upon hearing this, she thought, they are bound to be incompatible. Gu Changa and Jin Chan walked out from the battlefield, and everyone cheered, they're out. They're out. It's young Master Changa and Jin Chan. Oh my God. Young Master Changa, how badly are you hurt? What? What about the son of the God Emperor? Jin Chan and Gu Changa had a dazed expression. Gu Changa said, I am ashamed to have let down all of you, my fellow Taoists. Gu Changa continued, I have let you all down. The inheritor of the demonic arts has succeeded. I have done my best. The crowd was shocked and asked, what? How could this be? Couldn't the three on the list capture him? Is that guy really that powerful? Yin Yu asked, young Master Gu, what about the son of the God Emperor? Gu Changa had no answer and could only say, ask Jin Chan. Jin Chan said to the crowd, Amitba, the son of the God Emperor has fallen, but I am not too clear on the specifics. After hearing this, the crowd asked, what happened? Why are you unclear? Didn't you go in together? Gu Changa said, some things are better left unclear, like how Jin Chan Daoist brother allowed the son of the God Emperor to fall into danger alone. The crowd exclaimed, "What?" Jin Chan responded, "Amitabha, I shouldn't have parted ways with the son of the God Emperor, but please, young Master Changa, do not misunderstand me." The crowd began to suspect. It seems that something must have happened between Jin Chan and the son of the God Emperor. No wonder he's less injured. You just said young Master Changa was severely wounded, and the son of the God Emperor perished, but Jin Chan Master. Jin Chan took out his Buddhist pill and said to Gu Changa, "Young Master Changa, facing a powerful enemy and burning your source, I deeply admire you. This is the sacred Buddhist pill from Mount Buddha, it will greatly aid your injuries." Gu Changa responded, "Daoist brother Jin Chan's kindness, I am unworthy of it. Keep the pill for yourself. After all, who knows if, when you next meet the inheritor of the demonic arts, he will show mercy." The crowd was surprised and asked, "What does young Master Changa mean by this? Is Jin Chan feeling guilty?" Yin Yu remained silent. Suddenly, she bowed to Gu Changa and said, "Young Master Changa, please make a decision for our Tianhuang mountain." Gu Changa helplessly replied, "I am powerless." He continued, "The inheritor of the demonic arts has succeeded this time. I have done my best. Now, I need to rest and recover. Everyone, take care and be cautious." After saying this, Yin Mi supported Gu Changa as they left. She said to him, "Young Master Gu, I'll send you back to rest." He responded, "Thank you, Lady Tian." Meanwhile, Lu Guanwang thought to himself, Gu Changa is the true man. But this Buddhist person is not very reliable. Yin Yu bowed again to Jin Chan and said, "I hope Jin Chan Buddhist son can give Tianhuang mountain an explanation." Lu Guanwang sneered. Inwardly, the son of the God Emperor died without injustice. If I were as strong and smart as I am, how would I end up like this? Jin Chan prepared to leave and said, "Amitabha, may you find peace." The crowd asked him, "Wait, what does, 'may you find peace,' mean?" "Yeah, that seems too irresponsible." Jin Chan remained silent and sighed, "The human heart is unpredictable. Young Master Changa, why must you seek fame at the cost of others?" Chu Hao angrily threw a bottle on the ground and cursed, "Damn." He muttered to himself, "Why is Gu Changa so lucky? He didn't die in the Zhuke ancient kingdom, nor did he die in the hands of the demonic arts inheritor." At this moment, an old man stood behind him and said, "Hao, do not be angry." The old man was none other than Bai Yang of the Supreme Cave Heaven. He said to Chu Hao, "If it comes to favoritism, Gu Changa is younger than you. Hao, why bother arguing with a junior?" After hearing the old man's words, Chu Hao sighed and said, "Master, you don't know. Gu Changa is arrogant and unscrupulous. He will do anything to achieve his goals." Bai Yang said to him, "Hao, don't worry. It seems that no one in the world has a better talent than you. Even if his background is terrifying, once you achieve Tao, all other geniuses will be nothing but clouds." Chu Hao asked in surprise, "But..." Then he continued, "I specifically came from the Supreme Cave to urge you to calm your mind and not let trivial matters disturb your Tao heart." Chu Hao responded, "I understand the reasoning of my master, but I am angry." Even Wan was. The scene shifted to Tang Wan, who murmured, she is. The cycle of reincarnation, the achievements in the sea of business, just as Aoyang predicted, you have also reincarnated, Wanner. Qin Wuyue appeared, holding a mysterious bottle, thinking, this bottle, taken from the reincarnation pool after 9 lives and 1 death, should be enough for you and junior sister to use. It's great. The debt I owe you from the past life, fortunately, this life I still have the chance to repay. Qin Wuyue tightly gripped the bottle, thinking, but right now, I still don't know your whereabouts. This matter cannot be rushed. The most important thing now is to go to the Xuanwu ancient kingdom. We will reunite sooner or later. Wait for me, Wanner. Tang Wan felt someone was following her. She looked back and thought, why do I have this strange feeling? Then she thought, forget it, it's not important. I should still find a way to help Brother Chu Hao. At this moment, Jiang Chu Chu was facing a monster. She suddenly realized, not good, Great Sage Realm. The huge monster charged at her. Suddenly, a hammer flew and knocked it away. The monster was pinned to the ground by the hammer, and a giant bell appeared on the mountaintop. Jiang Chu Chu was surprised and said, "Two supreme artifacts." The giant bell grew larger and larger. The giant bell fell, crushing the monster, and Gu Chang'e walked over, coldly saying, "You can't even deal with a great sage realm, how weak." Jiang Chu Chu was surprised by his appearance. Gu Chang'e asked her, "Why don't you run if you can't win? Aren't you all saintesses of the human ancestor? Hall. Why are you so foolish?" Jiang Chu Chu angrily replied, "You're scolding me again. I don't want you to save me, I just wanted to tell you that I discovered the origin of absolute sound. You can come if you want." Gu Chang'e reached out and pinched her nose, saying, "If I didn't come, the human ancestor hall would probably only have one saintess left." Gu Chang'e prepared to leave, saying to her, "All right, I'll go solve it. You stay here and wait for me. Sigh, I haven't even recovered and I have to come help you. My heart is truly filled with the world." After saying that, he summoned a black hole, stepped into it, and left. Jiang Chu Chu shouted, "You're just going in like that? Hey, be careful." A spaceship hovered in the sky. Jinnan's junior brother and two headless guards were waiting there. Gu Chang'e was surprised and said, "Huh. The ones who can cross the Absolute Sound land are actually people from the Absolute Sound Royal Court." The elders of the True Immortal Academy were indeed correct. This Absolute Sound disaster is related to the Absolute Sound Royal Court, and there is even a complete quasi-supreme origin corpse, still retaining the Absolute Sound and Immortal Chi. Gu Chang'e hovered in mid-air, looking down. His gaze seemed to be reminiscing, "I still remember Ming Kong once told me." Gu Chang'e lay on her lap, and she said, "I heard the news, the people from the Absolute Sound Royal Court have been secretly searching for the reincarnation ancient Heavenly Lord and his heirs. The purpose is likely to establish the Absolute Sound reincarnation." Gu Chang'e asked again, "Is that all?" She said, "That's all. The information I obtained from my previous life is only this much. As for whether Niao Yi had any contact with people from the Absolute Sound Royal Court, I cannot know. Because later, you killed me." Back to the story, Gu Chang'e said, "Yi Ling is already dead today, isn't that me? Let's try it for now." Then he took out his supreme artifact, the iron hammer. The junior disciple noticed his arrival and turned his head. He ordered his guards, "Quick, catch it." Two guards grabbed the slowly descending huge iron hammer but were helpless. One of them was suddenly pierced through the stomach by a beam of light. Gu Chang'e charged at the junior disciple with his sword. He asked in surprise, "Outsider, what do you want?" Gu Chang'e asked, "What do you think?" He shouted, "Your Majesty, Your Highness, save me." Jianan immediately rushed over. She kicked him into the air. Then she asked, daring to sneak in alone, "Who are you?" Gu Chang'e recognized, "Supreme Realm, genuine. In the Supreme Realm, one step equals a layer of heaven, the gap is too great. This woman's cultivation must be at least 5 or 6 layers of heaven." After thinking, he immediately planned to escape. Suddenly, Jianan appeared in front of him and grabbed his neck, controlling him. She asked, "Outsider, do you think you can still escape?" Suddenly, Jianan froze. Gu Chang'e disappeared in front of her. She was shocked and asked herself, "Void talent?" Jianan said to Gu Chang'e, "Struggle and die." Then she summoned a dark hand to grab him. Suddenly, Gu Chang'e grabbed his spear and counterattacked. He thrust the spear into the dark hand, neutralizing her attack. Jianan asked in surprise, "Reincarnation divine art? A single strike so domineering. What is your relationship with the reincarnation ancient Heavenly Lord?" Gu Chang'e thought, as expected, "It's a trap." Then he replied, "What does it have to do with you?" Jianan asked, "Although the reincarnation ancient Heavenly Lord's whereabouts are unknown, only he can Use the reincarnation divine art. So, you're his heir. Gu Changa said, actually, I inherited the reincarnation. Ancient heavenly lord's legacy, and the heir can also receive it. After hearing that, she continued, in that case, we have no reason to fight. Anyway, my purpose this time is to find his heir.